What's up, horror fam? I am Jess, and I am here with the better half of Goglathan, Jonathan.
Hello.
Hello. I'm so sorry you guys were in jail for a moment there. Not to blame it on the person who wasn't here, but somebody is still traveling, which is why Duff is not here again this week. But he set up the live for us because we could not figure it out. And he's off on vacation. We shouldn't have made him use his PTO for work. So that's on us. And he said it for kids. So Jonathan was telling me we didn't have chat. And I was like, well, I saw chats and then we went live and then I saw no chats. So you guys are no longer in jail. There's no longer, it's not for kids. I made sure they know this live is not for babies.
No.
How are you doing, Jonathan? We got a lot to talk about this week.
We both are exhausted because we have made content on so many platforms for so many days in a row. You've been killing it with the TikToks, making tons and tons of videos for that. And I've been handling the Twitter and Instagram every day. Funny enough, the one day I couldn't post because I was busy at Epic Universe. There was no announcement, so we're fine. So there was nothing. They decided, you know what, today we're not gonna announce anything. So I was like, cool, we're perfect.
Let's just get that out of the way. I know people were like, maybe something happened. I'm like, no, guys, it's what they've been doing all year. It's engagement bait. It keeps us talking because we expected it. They got our hopes up and then they crushed them just to get them up again. And we got a Hollywood announcement this week. There's a lot to talk about.
There is so much. But it also made sense because there were only 4 more originals to announce, and there's, Monday through Friday, that's 5 days, so they needed to take one day off. So,
I do think it's weird that Hollywood didn't get their announcement on like their own day then.
Yeah, they should have. Like it doesn't matter. It's an original. Even though, funny enough, on our Instagram and Twitter, when we post that type of stuff, that Monstruos 3 announcement got a lot more engagement than any of the Orlando originals, besides like the first one. Which is, I guess, because it is part of a series and people know what Monstruos is, but it got so much more engagement. And I think we'll have a lot to talk about once we get to that particular house over on that coast.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But first, before we dive into all that, we got to see who's in the chat. And with the first comment this week, Chemo Doc. Thank you.
Now the show started.
Yeah, well, because thank God you got your comment in before we went live and we weren't allowed to have comments for a moment. We got HHN Scott. What's up?
Hello.
Is going to be amazing. Albert, hello. Welcome back. Just cutting into your drinking time. I try to not drink a lot before HHN because then I will be drinking a lot. And it's just not good for me. It's hot. It's hot here. It's really hot here after the day I've had.
Yeah.
No air conditioning at work was great. Oh, 8-bit is too real. It's too real.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that right now.
We love you, 8-bit, but yeah. What's up, Neptune?
Hello.
Welcome back. We're free. Thanks, Jonathan.
If people in the Discord were like, why can't we see chat? I'm like,
I don't know. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
What's up, Theme Park Beast? How's everyone doing? 5 originals down and 3 IPs.
Yeah. We still technically got a FNAF announcement to go, even though we know exactly what it is. We haven't even talked about that point of how Murdy said it was a house on Hollywood side. Matt Flood on Orlando, which people never say that part. They always think they always just say Murdy. No, Matt Flood on Orlando's team said it's coming to Orlando as a house.
Yes.
But then Mike Aiello at the Spooky Empire panel, when asked about if is it going to be a house, he's like, well, it hasn't been announced as anything yet, and he couldn't say. But I'm like, Matt Flood did though. So like, was he supposed to? I don't know. But yeah, that's definitely coming on both coasts. Just it's going to, be announced at a later date as a house. It's been announced, just not as a house.
There hasn't been a shirt yet, and there's going to be an announcement shirt. So like, I feel like that's when it's. I don't know. It's so silly at this point because we know we're just waiting on 2, but I get it.
Yeah.
What's up, Spooky Bits? I love that name. It's every week. I think it's so funny.
Yeah.
We tried lobster today. Oh, bougie. Okay. I do like lobster. Did you know that Red Lobster now has seafood boils, Jonathan?
I heard that, and like $5 drinks and a lot of changes. And
their CEO is like a young black man. He's killing it. Yeah.
I didn't go back there. I haven't been there in years. Red Lobster.
Me neither. This is funny. Why is the bloodshed of Norse mythology
No idea.
It might have. I don't know. What's up, Christine?
Hello.
Today we are learning the ABCs. Okay. Oh, okay, because it's for children. I was like, oh, that's if you only knew. That's my life. Jacob got hired to be a house attendant.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's big news. Woo, woo. You're gonna make the whole event happen because without you, there would be no event.
Nobody would move. No one would. Everyone would just say, the first wave of people would go to the house and then they never leave.
Me, I move into the graveyard. Well, if you want to tell us when you find out what house you're in, we can come visit and cheer you on. We're there to cheer everybody on. Let's be real. What's up, Hydra? Hello. Hi, Bethany.
Hello.
This is still so funny to me. We're free. What's up, Arkham? What a week. We are getting tired. Oh my God.
It's time for a break. Time for 1 week with no announcements. That's what I want. Just 1 week. Then we can start after that. It's not
going to be one next week. It's a holiday.
Yeah. So we are going to have a week probably of no announcements. Let's go. I'm ready.
Good.
One time a year.
This all happened right before I have my week off at work because now I am also on vacation.
You had to earn the week off, so you had double the work. Normal job and also HHN.
That's very true, actually. I like that perspective.
Yeah, but now the vacation is going to be like, this is the best. Why does it feel so much better? Like because you were
seeing Beyonce.
That too. That's also a part of it.
What's up, Dre? Galgan forever. I think you spelled Garaka wrong.
When you pointed out that similarity, I had to make that tweet because they're doing the same pose. They're doing
that is Garaka, but original. And it's not a bad thing. I loved Garaka. I loved I almost called it Stranger Things, Ghostbusters. I loved it so much. I can't even remember the name. No, I really loved it. I'm on record saying how much I loved that house. So
amazing house. Had no right to be as good as it was.
No, and Garaka's scary. So I hope Galkin, if that is their name. I don't know.
I think so. I think it's Galkin.
I just feel like there's going to be some crazy house triggers in that.
Probably.
Seatown, yes. Prepare for a long one. Correct.
Got a lot to talk about. And there's no time limit for me. So we're both on the entire time. Look at that.
Yep. Oh, wait, this is funny. Christine says, the other day I was driving listening to this podcast. I swear you had just said in Kevin We Trust, and I look up in the airplane that writes trust in Jesus. Had just typed trust in Jess. When I was little, whenever we would go to Disney and they would like write in the sky, I would be like, are they writing my name? Because they would just start writing it. And I'm a child, but every time I see it now, somebody else thinks it. So I'm not alone.
See, actually that whole scenario is exactly what happened when we saw the updated rumored WWE facade. It went from Trust in Kevin for this one instance to Trust in Jess.
I did it. That's my one accomplishment. I'm putting it in my Twitter bio.
We don't have a picture of that this week, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, we should have put just a little bit. Or didn't we talk? No, we didn't talk about it last week.
Podcast. Confusing.
Yeah. This is funny. On today's 4 hour
Oh,
today.
okay. Maybe this.
What's up, Mike? Hello.
Hello.
Robbie, what's up? Welcome back. There's a lot. You guys really like hanging out with us, I guess, every week. I don't know why.
I don't know. Because the
I
power of
appreciate
Goglathan.
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 Ooh, 1 a.m. in London. Thanks for
Ooh.
watching us. Thanks for staying up with us.
Appreciate that.
Your first HHN too. Oh yeah. I think that this is it is stacked right now. You're gonna have a great time.
Might be one of the best original lineups that I'm, that in concept at least in a while. I'm very excited. I know you are too, Jess.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But what's up, Wade?
Hello,
Albert. I did see that, and she goes to the event every year, but once she finds out that Terrifier is coming, I'll just be at the exit of that house if you need me. All right. I want to keep reading all these. There's so many, but I also want to get started in a second. But what's up, RIP? Thanks for joining. I bet you guys are tired too, because I know all the content creators are exhausted this week.
Every HHN content creator just wants the week to, it was such a fun week, but so much work.
Yeah. Very tiring. Oh my God, we got a lot of Goglathan love in the chat.
Yeah.
Good evening, Goglathan. I think
really
that
stuck.
Might need to be a shirt.
Goglathan. Hey, that could be good.
But no AC at work is cruel. Yes, and I work with children. They were having a great time. I was also having a great time, and I could not even start to think about a cold house.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, wait, one more. We have actually. Thank you, Nettles.
Hello.
I'll get into this before I lose it. Thank you so much. What do you think the 5 nights will be? Just another house or some alternate new experience like a VR game, Jonathan?
It's a house. And this isn't coming from like inside info or something. Matt Flood of Orlando on Orlando's creative team, and also John Murdy on Hollywood's creative team have both confirmed there will be a house on both coasts. It's such a weird situation why they can't say it's a house yet. There's so many different factors, like Blumhouse announcing it early, whether that was planned or planned very last minute, who knows, but they couldn't say it was a house because obviously Fallout came out that week. So it's just a bunch of, what we're assuming contract legality stuff that there's going to be a certain day that they can say it's a house and also release merch most likely. But today is not that day. So until that day comes, they're not going to say what it is, but it's confirmed it's a house for both coasts. So yeah,
it might be something more. Like it might be a bar, a food, like
could make
pop-up
Louis.
experience.
It could make Louis like a FNAF type, like pizza place. Theme it to that. That would work. I could see that.
I could also see it being like, I don't know how, but maybe how they'll utilize the theater out in Hollywood. We'll get into the spec map and what's on there, but I could see it being something more in Hollywood as well. Maybe if it's like what the David S. Pumpkins bar was 2 years ago or whatever. Maybe it's something more than a house, but it is a house. Like we've got confirmation, even though they don't want to say it right now.
Yeah.
But thank you again.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate that. All right. There's a lot more chats, but we will get back to the chat because I think we got to start.
We got so many houses to cover.
I'm tired. Catch our breaths.
And the first one we're talking about was one that we had a lot of information for, right?
We do. And that one is El Artista, a Spanish haunting.
This house. Before we get into it, I know we have all the descriptions up. Do you want to let everyone know what this house is about?
So the house description is: in 19th century Spain, a tortured artist moves to an isolated country manor to seek inspiration. Instead, as he wanders the ghostly hallways and haunted conservatory, malevolent spirits break into our realm through his paintings. He tries to resist, but the art comes to life and possesses him. Now you're about to be part of the permanent exhibition.
So good.
God.
I'm curious to hear everyone's thoughts about this, because this one, we've talked about on the podcast, the recent podcast that came out. We've sort of went into a lot of detail about every little element they talked about the story, about the pictures they released and stuff like that. But I will say the thing that interested me the most is that the way they're describing this is, while it is going to be, have a unique twist, we're talking about paintings sort of coming to life and all that. At the end of the day, what they sort of implied is that this is a haunted house with ghosts. And, that's sort of the base. It's a ghost haunted house, sort of classic haunted house with a fun twist to it. But they mentioned effects like ghosts walking through walls and Pepper's ghost effects and ghosts sort of pushing through the canvases of paintings and stuff like that. And I think that's the part that interests me the most about this house, because I've never got to see a classic ghost haunted house before. I'm not counting Haunting of Hill House. They did not try to make that a ghost house. Yeah. It was just an IP. Like, it was just, they did the scenes from the show. I want to see just a haunted house with ghosts. And I think this could really do it for me and fill that itch. So I cannot be more excited for this. And I just think all the elements they said in addition to it, including the story, the characters, the take they're going to do, the passion that Ramon has, who's the show writer and everything for this house. I think this is going to be something really special. And I think the creative team, Mike Aiello, they, and all that, like, believes that too. And they have a lot of hype and passion for this one.
Yeah, no, and what you're like touching on, they said that they drew a lot of inspiration from Dead End and Gothic for this. And like Dead End is like one of the most like iconic haunted house of all time for Orlando originals. So like for me, if you've heard about me talk about on my old podcast, on this podcast, like we all talk about our like wish I had a Wayback Machine and could have gone through like list. And my 1 and 2 are literally like Gothic and Dead End. So I'm literally like a chihuahua shaking about this house. And I feel the same way about one we're going to get to later, but it's like, you would have thought that I got like a one-on-one with the creative team for this year.
Had a notepad.
Kind of crazy, right?
I got some ideas,
There's just so much. And like, maybe I'm getting my hopes up like we do every year. This is just the nature of HHN fans. But like the art, like the artwork, the character, they got to meet Sergio Navarro, which is the main character. That is the artist. Like they got to meet him at Spooky, and his whole little like internal monologue that was going on. Like, I'm getting chills. And I wasn't even in the room. Like, God, I am so excited. And Ramon has like proven himself as a creative director in like the last couple of years at Horror Nights. So I trust that man as much as I trust Charles Gray with houses.
Yep.
And Charles Gray is my favorite. Not that you should have a favorite; they're all amazing. But he made Graveyard Games, and because of
that's it. That's the criteria.
that is it. You're getting real sassy just tonight, but like, I am so excited for this house, and I love that it's going to bleed into the event in different ways. They said, and it's like up to us to find that too.
Yeah. So I listened deeper into the Spooky Empire panel, because when we first recorded that episode, the whole live stream, well, not live stream, but like the whole recording of it didn't come out yet. It just the panel just happened. Even if people did release it, we didn't have time to watch it. We had to record an episode. So we just picked the snippets that people were, posting online, for Twitter. But going deeper into them talking about the theme of this event, which I guess we haven't talked about on the live either, but it's the conservatory is the theme of the entire event. This house also has, they've said, a conservatory in it. And they basically implied, from what I gathered, that the theme of the event was almost inspired by this house. But not, like there might be hints to it and might be connections here and there. But at the end of the day, I really think, in my opinion, though I don't know, I'm not behind the scenes, I have no idea. What happened is they saw this house, because houses are usually, like pretty early on, especially originals. And they saw the vibe and saw, what was going to happen with it. Maybe saw a winner on their hands and went, that's a great idea for a theme for the event. That vibe, that style, it fits. And then they used that style and made it the theme of the event. I don't necessarily believe that the story is going to connect much, if at all. I really think we're dealing with the 29 situation here, where it's a vibe, like the vibe is conservatory, gargoyles, Gothic vines, stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see how it plays into it and how much they want to tie in. But I don't actually think the story for the this house in terms of what the event is matters that much. But we could be wrong. You know, it could actually tie in a lot. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they said that the conservatory is like where we're entering, I guess. So like it's like the theme, but yeah, we're not gonna know until premium scream opening night, PM preview, whatever, whenever. If you avoid spoilers or not, that's up to you. But see what the chat says. Albert says, "Didn't we go over this house already?" Probably.
On the podcast.
Are you sure we didn't do it? Oh no, because it got announced on Friday. This is our live this week. No, only on the podcast. I was about to believe that we had, because we've talked about a lot of stuff this week on different platforms.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything. I did want to address this. Mike's asking if we've started our hype list, or are we waiting for the full drop?
I mean, I'm starting it in my head, because now with all the originals down, it's a little easier, because with Terrifier and WWE, we kind of have a good idea of where they're going. But I do think, especially with WWE, before I make that full hype list and we make it, I need to see what it is. I need to see how they're going to tackle it. I have a good idea how they're going to tackle Terrifier, but WWE's a case where they can still go a bunch of different ways, and I want to see what way they're doing it to fully know where it's landing on the hype list for me. I don't know if it's the same for you, Jess, or I don't know.
I am excited for everything when it gets announced, because recency bias is really hard when you have ADHD.
Yes.
So, which is why I've adopted Duff's 2-year rule for putting a house in my top 10, because it will just be whatever my favorite is that year every year. So I literally don't try to think about it until we do it for the podcast.
That's smart.
Because it's not going to be fair ever to me. So,
yeah. Well,
but
the list I'm creating in my head is going to change by the time we make that episode.
It'll change when we're doing the episode.
Literally, we're going to get so much more information about these things. There's going to be the 3-house tour. We'll try to do the hype list before that. But it's going to change things, and people are going to come out with prior thoughts, even though it's only a week, thank goodness, but there's still going to be some prior thoughts and anticipation and expectation based on what people saw. So yeah, our hype list will probably change the week before the event even starts. So that's how sort of volatile it is. It's constantly changing.
Yeah. I agree. Country Skater says, super pumped for this house. I think it's going to be the most visually appealing. Funny you say that. We also got confirmation that Dylan Kolath, who designed Blood Moon, Dead Man's Pier, Goblins too, right?
Yep.
All of those houses, they are the designer for this house.
Yep. Yeah. And they made sure to mention that on the panel. They're like, by the way, they want people to know. So I'm definitely expecting a house with huge sets, because when they made sure to say, hey, the person who designed Dead Man's Pier make this house, they're just giving a little, wink, wink, nudge, nudge about the scale this thing is going to be. And I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm expecting also like rooms. I mean, that's kind of like their signature, where you can see other scenes from a room you're in. So I'm expecting like, I don't know, it's a big manor. So it's going to have like maybe a ballroom or something like that, or like a massive dining room. And like, maybe there'll be like another level, and that's where the gothic element comes in with the mirror gags and stuff like that. So I have a lot of like hopes, I think, wish list for this house.
I'd love for like the facade to be this, obviously the art here, which is absolutely gorgeous. And then maybe you leave the house, maybe you go to the back or something, and you look behind, you can see like the back of it. I think that would be really cool.
Oh, that's a really cool idea, John.
If they even go that route, who knows? We might never leave that house, like in terms of the story. So
I'm never leaving that house. We're going to need the person in the chat who's the house attendant to keep me going.
Exactly. Just going to wave the little stick like, okay, fine.
Just don't be like the people in Hollywood.
God,
they're so aggressive. Argum has the question of the year, I think. Is the artist an icon? They said it on the panel. No.
Yeah. No.
He is, you could call him one if you want. So like that to me equates it to like Boris level, an iconic character.
Yeah.
As Mike Isla likes to call them. But he's not an icon, but that's kind of where he put in like if you dive deeper into his story, into the event, he can be more iconic to you. That's where I just think that, like, I think I said this on the podcast. he's opening the portal that is the event where all of these things live, because like I don't know, all the house descriptions are all like very, we're now in this realm, we're now in this. So like in my head, it's like, you know, in the beginning of The Nightmare Before Christmas, when you're in you know what I'm about to say, when you're in like the forest and all the holiday doors are there. I feel like that is the conservatory.
Oh, that would be, yeah, that'd be really cool. And if it would be so easy, right? That they make a house and the ghosts are coming out of the paintings or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they were making the event like, hey, what if we make some of the paintings just the house art? You know? So then like at the end of the house or whatever, like we don't have to do anything technically, but then, you know, you can see a picture of the house art and go like, oh, that's this, and it's all connected to that house, you know, and it could just be a workaround to make it fit into the lore without having to do much, you know, to it. That would be that. I think that'd be really smart for like the originals.
I really hope that they maybe not hide, but like an Easter egg in this house is like Sergio's interpretation of all the other houses' artwork. That would be
so
really
cool.
cool, because then like that's where the portals are and stuff like that. I don't know.
I'd love that.
Yeah, I don't know. Robbie agrees with us about Ramon. It is a plus. Honestly, this does kind of sound like what I want a museum to be. I was not a big fan of museum last year.
No,
a lot of people
not better, but never hit what I wanted it to.
Yeah, Albert, I also want to see how they're going to do walking through walls.
Yeah, because they mentioned it's a like because they had two separate things, right? At first, I'd think like Pepper's Ghost is like, you know, something pretty easy. But they kind of said first we're doing Pepper's Ghost, and also another effect is Ghost walking through walls. I'm like, oh, is that that's a different effect that we're doing? So what are they gonna do? Like, I'm so interested. That could be so cool. What if it's, I don't know, like a physical thing, like it's like a mirror trick, and it looks like someone's walking through a wall, but then they pop out of the other. I don't know. There's lots of ways they could do it that I'm not smart enough, or that I could think about them at the top of my head.
I can't remember the name of because there's a name for the gag with the mirror where like it looks where they're like technically standing next to you, but it looks like they're standing in the boo hole, like and then they pop out right next to you. So like they could do it kind of like that, but I feel like it's different because they wouldn't like say this specifically.
I think so too. There's going to be something more unique.
Yeah. Arkham, yep. The designer of Dead Man, Blood Moon, and Goblin's Feast, yep.
Yeah. It's going to be a gorgeous house. That's for certain. No, if all else fails, the house is going to look beautiful.
Ooh, not about this house, but these Friday streams are beyond comfy. I like that. The vibes are comfy.
They are comfy.
We're just all staying in. Why do we go out on a Friday? We're old. We're getting ready for HHN. We got to rest.
Exactly. Got to do our research. Got to watch all the Friday the 13th.
I told you which ones to watch.
I know. I'm being exaggerating, but I still got to watch those. Well, I'm about to finish
Fallout when you watch Jason Lives.
I'm about to finish it with Chloe. We're close. We only got like an episode and a half, and then after that, we got to finish Terrifier 2 because I got through half of it and was like, this is boring, and stopped watching it. But I got to get through that one, and then it's all Jason. So we're close.
Yeah. I do like this. The way they talked about on the panel, the conservatory is more the icon than the artist. I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
It's a vibe. It's HHN 29. It's 80s. Like I really, like that type of thing. I really think that's what we're going for here. Like 31 Halloween, just where something generic enough that can fit everything. That isn't too complicated and convoluted like Sinister and Surreal. Which I think, especially if you're not gonna have an icon, it's the way to go. Do something like this. People tend to gravitate towards it, and so my favorite years are years that did just that. So I think it's a smart move.
Yeah. Again, not about this, but I just think this is funny. I've talked about it a lot actually, but I do have ADHD, neurodivergent, neurospicy, as I like to call it.
Yeah. Neurospicy.
It just makes it a little fun, but also, Jay, that's okay. I understand. Number 10 on your hype list.
I get
it's not for everybody. If asked 5 years ago, I would have laughed and I would have been like, fuck that. Number 10. But something that's not going to be 10 on our hype list, Jonathan.
Oh. Ooh, Hatchet and Chains.
Monday's announcement.
There we go. Our first one, and of the spooky week. I don't count Artist because that was Spooky Empire.
It kicked off spooky week because it was a week from first announcement to last.
It was. So yeah, I guess Artist did feel, but this is like, the Monday, because this was last year. Spooky Empire happened, and we're all, just like, oh, it's an original announcement. Slaughter Cinema 2. That makes sense. Wonder when the other originals will get announced randomly on a Monday. Get ready for Goblin's Feast. What? So this was this year's Goblin's Feast, Hatchet and Chains.
Do you want to read the description?
Yeah, I actually don't have it in front of me.
No, it's okay. I was trying to be fair, but I can do it. It's okay.
Hatchet and Chains are going crazy in the West, the Wild West.
You don't even remember the lava demons?
There were lava demons. They're fighting them. Get ready.
Right,
you can read the full thing.
In this old West town, all hell is breaking loose. I should read it with an accent.
Yes.
No. Masses of red hot lava demons are crawling out of hell's well and trying to possess everyone, melting everything in their path. As you flee from the post office to the bank, the prison to the graveyard, your only hope is Hatchet and Chains with their arsenal of mystical weapons.
So good. I also pulled up the blog now, so I won't be caught off guard next time.
Sorry, I was just trying to be fair.
No, I
probably don't want to hear me.
No, this house is like okay. So it's weird, right? Because in hype, in spec season, when we all kind of came to the conclusion that this is what it's going to be. I think a couple of us were a little disappointed because we kind of wanted, originally just sort of like a completely original, meaning no, like not based on anything else, Wild West house, cowboy, something. But thinking more on it and looking at this description and the key art, which is, I really, really, really like it. I'm very excited for this house. I'm really hyped. They're keeping the camp elements, at least according to the description. It sounds like it, while also including really cool locations and making it feel like a Western with an added twist. I think that the sets are going to be really good. This was confirmed to be a Charles Gray house, which is also very exciting. Because he also did Slaughter Cinema 2, so it makes sense. I'm very hyped for this. A lot more hyped than when we first sort of realized it was Hatchet and Chains. And I think the way they announced it, the description and the key art has really done a lot for me for this particular one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. There is a comment that I hear from Arkham that we were madmen thinking Slaughter Cinema 2 would happen this year. I didn't say madmen. I just didn't think the second one was as well loved as the first Slaughter Cinema.
No.
So like it was loved, but also it was just in like a not great year overall. So I just thought that they would want to wipe the whole slate clean and not do something. But I think that this is the one to choose. I obviously want mummy strippers. Everybody wants mummy strippers, but it's not going to happen.
No.
So I'll take this as the second option.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad about it. And I haven't seen a Western house at Horror Nights. I've seen obviously at Knott's, but so I'm excited to see their take on it. I think that this is going to be campy for sure. Yeah. Red hot lava demons.
Red hot lava demons. It's just funny.
We're going to see a lightning gulch reference in here for sure.
Oh yeah. They have to be. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of sets they can reuse from that too. Just throw them here because it would fit really well. We both haven't seen a Western house, and I think that's what I'm most excited about, seeing a theme that Horror Nights hasn't tackled before. We're not a Knott's podcast, but Origins in Knott's is a Western house, basically. Mm-hmm. Just a scene where you go, but in a sort of Wild West town, you're outside, you see, like the gunfights and stuff like that. And it is gorgeous. It is absolutely stunning. And if this house, while we're, likely according to the map going in a smaller space or going in a sprung tent, but if it can capture those Western settings, like the bars, like the description said prison and the Western prison and stuff like that. I think it's just going to hit. I don't think there's a way this does not hit. I think this is going to be a very good house.
Yeah, I really hope. I mean, we'll probably see like a shootout, but I really want this is going to be campy. I want to hear like the silly little Western music, and I want a scare to be like out those like double saloon doors.
Yes.
I just want that, and then like Hatchet or Chains come out from the other side, like.
Watch that be their introduction, like a demon's coming out from one side, like, oh no, who's gonna save us? And then they burst through the doors and shoot the demon or lasso it or whatever they do. And
I know what I want. I know what I want. You
what
just
do you want?
described Ash versus Evil Dead from 2017.
Oh,
And I think that is like, obviously a lot of people didn't like that house. I really like that house. I also didn't know any better back in 2017, so but I really like the Evil Dead franchise. But that house did that a lot. You were caught in the crossfire, and I see like if they took that, like it was funny and silly, and did this the original, I think that's like a perfect way to do Hatchet and Chains.
They need to be the heroes. Like they need to be the classic, Western film, heroes that you see in the, in those old West, Wild West movies, and be, sort of puffed up and have power. And I think that'd be a great way to do it.
And they're a little scary themselves. I will say that's also probably why I wasn't so like gung-ho on this, because I didn't have this problem, but like whenever I was in Slaughter Cinema 2, a lot of people were confused on who the bad guys were at first. Because they're scary. They're demon bounty hunters. Like it's kind of like I guess not the ghoul, but like the people that were looking for the ghoul in Fallout. But like they're kind of still scary. So like people were confused on like, well, what's going on? Why is there a chain around that guy? Like, and it's like, oh, that's a demon. Oh, that also looks like a demon. And it's like, okay, but I think like if I don't know what the gag will be for like the lava demons or whatever, but I think this is gonna be so fun.
I think so too. And all the originals are announced. So in terms of these, at least, I'm pretty sure this is the comedy house this year.
Yeah.
It's still going to be probably a little scary. I think the demons themselves could be, terrifying up close. But I think this is the one house this year that's not going to, in terms of originals, that's not going to take itself very seriously, which is important for this property.
It shouldn't take itself seriously at all. I want like the silly Western music in the background. Like that is what I want. I really want it to be silly, scary. And like that is, I think, what Yeti was so successful in after Slaughter Cinema. They were silly, but they were scary. Absolutely. And I think that Campground Kills is like a great example if they go that route with this, which is kind of what I mean by the Ash versus Evil Dead comparison. So let's see what the chat, I think, has a lot to say about this one. Ooh. Mike says this is the top of his hype list.
Good choice.
I totally understand why.
Yeah.
Ms. Domini, is this two different houses? No, but the artwork actually does kind of look like that now that you pointed out.
Yeah, it does.
Hatchet and Chains and then Demon Bounty Hunters. No, it's one house. So I don't know if anybody, this means nothing, but like all the originals except one are title, title. Except one, but I can't remember which one now.
Is it Dolls?
No, it's Graveyard.
Oh yeah, it is. It is
the
Graveyard.
Flesh. Yeah, the Flesh one, which they fucked up when they posted it. But they're just very like not long names, but they're giving you more context than Triplets of Terror.
Yeah, and that's it. And everyone was. I remember that was the final announcement last year, and everyone's like, "What?"
Right.
Yeah, it's like if they just said the first part of. I forgot. I don't have the originals memorized of this announcement, the one we got today. They just said the first part of it and then left and ran, and it was everybody like, "What?"
Yeah. No.
Garaka, and that's it. It's like, what do you mean?
I literally can't remember what it's actually called now because it's Garaka.
That's it. It's just the Garaka house. That's what it's called.
Dre says they're cautiously optimistic about Hatchet and Chains, but the key art is T. Key art is T.
I love a colorful poster. I really do.
What's funny is the background looks like Sinister and Surreal to me better than Sinister and Surreal ever did. The blue and the pink. Like, I like it.
That's very nice.
Albert always coming in with the positive outlook. So this is basically Ghost Rider. No.
I mean, there's definitely inspired by it because Ghost Rider does similar things. and he is a demon with a chain, but no, we're going a completely different time period. It's but I see the comparison.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Robbie, I thought the same thing. That's my gold.
Tim Tracker
From Lightning Gulch. I really think we're gonna see, even if it's just like the lightning gulp sign hidden somewhere, like it's gonna see something.
It's gonna be in there. Maybe one of them are gonna say it. Hatchet and Chains. The demon steals their bag of gold or something. That'd be fun.
Hatchet and Chains are like Saskia, but with more sauce. You're not wrong. But poor Saskia.
Saskia really didn't accomplish anything she wanted to do and then died. Poor Saskia.
No, poor Saskia. But Robbie gets it. We better get someone coming out of a saloon door with a dumb little gun saying pew pew, bitch. And
if they actually said, I mean, if they said that, it'd be my favorite house. If they said that exact line.
Have you watched an Ash vs. Evil Dead walkthrough? Do you know what they said in that house?
They said some words. I remember some words that are never really going to be said in houses again.
No, and I can't believe I got to see that happen. It was wild. No, we definitely need it, and if not, I'll be on one of the unmasking tours doing it myself. Post it on TikTok. Let's see. There's a lot of chat. I'm sorry, I'm going through it. Ooh, Seatown doesn't think it's going to be a full comedy house, not like Bugs comedy.
I mean, I think we're going to hit, sort of like that middle ground, like Yeti, where Yeti had lots of scares. And there were points where it was taking itself seriously. They wanted you to be afraid of the character. But then it also had parts where the Yeti slammed someone with the door. So I think we're going to hit that medium ground where it's silly. But there are points where they want you to say, all right, it's scare time, and they scare you. I think we're gonna hit that middle ground, or something like Campground Kills 2, like somewhere in that realm. I don't think we're gonna go full. Bugs was really silly. I don't think we're going, because they needed to counteract people's fear of bugs. That was important, because if they made it too scary, people would not go through the house. People didn't go through the house, even though it was comedy. But I think here, you don't need to do that. You don't need to worry about that. And they're going to find more of a middle ground here.
Yeah. I do. No, I lost my train of thought. I shouldn't have looked at my phone.
Oh, no.
It's okay. It wasn't that important. It wasn't that important. Christine, I agree that I need them to start launching the podcast episodes. I know it's normally closer to the event, but the fact that like we didn't get one this week at all, even for like Sergio. What's going on?
It's time. Do one a week or something like that. Or one every 2 weeks, because those podcasts help the time go by so much faster, because we're almost there now. We're June's about to end.
Yeah, we're 60 something days away.
That is crazy. We're soon got to make that 50 days post. That's when I actually start caring about the numbers.
Oh my God. That's also, Seatown, you're so right. That is the naming convention in theme park nowadays. Something, something, colon, something, something. You're totally right. Let's see. Mike, I will DM you later with the Friday films. I have to remember what I told Jonathan, but I will let you know. Arkham 2016 was Lightning Gulch. Ghost Town, The Curse of Lightning Gulch.
Wow, it's been a long time.
Yeah, 9 years. I'm going to have a crisis when I get to my 10th year of Horror Nights. It's going to be like turning 30 all over again.
There's going to be some people who are like, but we just had a Western house. There's going to be some people who said that.
The same people who say that we just had Jason when we didn't.
No.
What do I know? It's been 10 years. Oh, welcome, Kyle.
Hello.
Appreciate you hanging out with us. All right, shall we move on? Do we have anything else to say about Hatchet and Chains?
Yeehaw.
Oh, yeehaw. What's the other one?
I guess yeehaw. I don't know.
Never mind. I was trying to be stupid and I was extra dumb. All right.
That's my favorite quote. That's amazing.
Remember when somebody said, "Does Jess have ADHD?" Oh, I feel like I provide tons of evidence. ADHD and I smoke. Oh, all right, Jonathan. Do you wanna?
I'm
talk about
prepared
the
this time. I have it up. And this one is dolls, let's play dead. And the description is, you are about to become doll-sized and witness the unnatural creations of a twisted little girl. You'll be hunted by fashion dolls she's melded and burned. Then you'll go under her bed and be stalked by toys she's stitched together. You'll end in her creepy Victorian dollhouse where undead horrors await you. And at the end, Woody and Buzz will stop Sid and save the day. No, yes, that's dolls. Let's play dead.
AKA the Toy Story house.
The Toy Story house.
I also hate that title.
Yeah.
It just seems lazy.
It's weird because I think the concept for this is so cool, so fun, so interesting. I don't love title, and like the art is fine, but I don't know. It's affected my hype, even though it's not even fair that it has, because the concept's so cool. But I just don't like what we're seeing on the screen here. It's kind of put a little damper on it, which is once again unfair, but it has, because we don't have much material. We have this in the description and that's it, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been a person that's like afraid of dolls. So like anything like this or like toys, it's just not, I'm not going to be scared. I'll probably get scared in the house, but it's not something that I'm like dreading walking into, like the rumored IP at Knott's this year. But like I hate the title. I just think it's lazy. I don't mind the key art because it's giving us everything that they're saying we're gonna see. But I feel like I could have made this in Canva in 5 minutes compared to some of the other key art that's like catching your eye.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And we got to talk about the elephant in the room here. This is a house about dolls, right? That is the title. It says dolls. Let's play dead. The full description says we're gonna go in a dollhouse. The Victorian dollhouse. This is not related in any way, shape, or form to Dollhouse of the Damned. It's probably, like, you put it best in your TikTok, like, most likely a cousin house, kind of like Seeds was to Descendants and everything like that. But how do we feel about it? Not, I mean, it could be still. They could say it's a prequel and just, tie something to it. They could find a way. But let's assume right now it's not related at all. How do we feel about that? Do we think that was the right move? Or would we have rather it been tied? Because, like, I think this, Dollhouse of the Damned was about, we were in a giant dollhouse. We were not shrunken. It was a dollhouse that was normal sized. We are shrunken and things are changed. So so it is a different concept, but I don't know. They're so similar to me that I wonder if maybe it would have been better if it was tied to it in some way. What do you think?
I don't know, because I was really like not upset, but I was really bummed when Descendants wasn't a direct like sequel or prequel to Seeds, because Seeds is like one of my favorite houses of all time. But I wasn't disappointed after I saw it because like it didn't feel like a successor to it. It just felt like something that, okay, we took the aura of it and like took a different story. So like for me, as someone who didn't get to see Dollhouse, but I did a lot of research on it. I did like a whole podcast episode on my old podcast about it, like diving into every room and like a walkthrough of it and everything. That was more like about the different types of dolls, and they were creepy, but they weren't they were not really mutated, but they were not in this way. They're not like hybrid creatures. So I feel like it's going to go one of two ways, which is just obvious. This is very obvious, but like it could be so like out of left field and so sick and twisted that like that's why it's not part of the Dollhouse family. And this is just like a one-off sick and twisted like story. Or in the end, in a year, they're going to tell us it's like a cousin house because it did well.
Right.
And like the sick and twisted route could go really well as well, because that's kind of what I'm reading here. Like this is fucked up. This isn't just like a big man-sized baby in a room that smells like poop and powder. Like these are fashion dolls that are melted and stitched together. Like this is the shit that like the kid in the neighborhood that your mom said you couldn't hang out with did to their dolls.
Sid?
Pretty much, Sid. And I love that because that's not what Dollhouse was. Also coming from someone who never went through Dollhouse, I should say that. Just researched a lot of it and have spoken to a lot of friends who've gone through it. So I don't know. I think this one has a lot of it has a lot to live up to.
It does. This is, when was Dollhouse? I forgot what year that was.
2014?
2014. So it's been so a lot of people did not see Dollhouse at the Damned. We haven't seen it. So it's not going to matter too much at the end of the day, but people, depending on the route they go, they are going to compare. It's a natural thing, because we're, one's a Dollhouse, this one dolls are main focus. They are going to compare the two, and I don't know. I just really hope it lives up to it, or it's just so different that they can't compare it. Just one of the two types of things. I'm still really excited for this. I think the idea of like, I really love something like Chucky's Scare Zone, where a bunch of toys were walking in in the scare zone and interacting with you, and the monkeys, and then there was dolls in there, ballerinas with their one of their arms like cut off or something like that, because they were like glass, or glass ballerinas and stuff like that. Really, really cool types of characters and toys, and I'd love to see them featured in here. But maybe that makes it even better for me, just thinking about this more as like the Chucky Scare Zone sort of expanded without Chucky. I think that going that route could make it really fun.
I think that's what it's going to be. Like 100%. That's what it makes sense to me that way. I don't see it being just like, this is a baby doll. You can tell from the key art there. Well, you can't really tell from this one, but from the article, it's a wider form of the key art, like version of it. And you can see more of like that baby doll on the right is very like, she's fucked.
Okay. Hello. Hi, everybody. Jess is gone for a second, but that's okay. I'm here. So do you have any questions? I'm going to look at the chat here to see what we're saying here. I can't pull it up because I don't have that feature. Oh, Jess is back. Hi.
I don't know what happened. It kicked me out.
You turned into a robot and then he disappeared. I don't know what you said last, but I assume it was insightful and there was a lot of good points there.
I feel like Duff when it literally like my internet didn't drop or anything. It just StreamYard said no more.
It was like, I'm done talking about dolls. No.
No, literally. The funny thing is now I have to load all of our slides up again.
Oh.
We're killing it.
In the meantime, what is the chat saying about this house? I'm curious.
I would love to tell you in a moment once I'm not adding the slides.
I can read off some things.
Oh yeah, you do that.
Let me see from here at least. Hate that title. Yep. Spooky Bit says the Let's Play Dead is my most hyped house. Dolls of the Damned is my #1 Wayback Machine house, and this gives me those vibes, as well as Puppet Theater, which is one of my all-time faves. That's awesome. It does give Puppet Theater vibes a little bit. I can see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally see that comparison.
Yeah, and I love Puppet Theater, so absolutely. And then this one from 8-Bit Slasher. I'm really excited to see how they play with scale in this house, but I'm slightly worried considering it's a Sprung Tent house. That's a fair point. But I will say Sprung Tents have really proved us wrong in recent years. Talking about Puppet Theater had a whole giant theater scene in that Sprung Tent. And it did not like ruin the house and take up a bunch of space because it had so many other scenes to play with. It was a long house. Descendants of Destruction with the big subway that you'd be, even on unmasking, you look at that and you go, how is, I understand it's a mirror, but I can't see it. They have so many effects and they can play with it so well in the Sprung Tents that I'm never going to be concerned with scale anymore when it comes to those specific tents, because they always find a way to make it work. And I think the idea of being shrunken down and seeing things that are just normal, like huge, is such a cool concept. And that could be played really well in the house.
Yeah. I agree.
Mhm.
Also, I can put chats on.
Okay, perfect. Yay.
I'm back. Let's see. What do we got? Okay, this is funny. Albert, I tweeted, you probably saw it, but I said, how many times this year will I get to say Ghost Dolls Toys? Because there's ghosts at the event too.
Yep.
And dolls and toys. This is just the year of Ghost Dolls Toys. We'll probably have a podcast episode titled that when I can't think of something else during the season.
Yeah, there we go.
Ooh, Christine knows a guy who works on the dollhouse and said it's unreal.
Whoa.
I'll trust you, Christine. You haven't lied to me yet.
It's true.
Talk to me when you have a Kevin track record, though. I'm kidding. He's only been wrong on one.
It's true. It's an important one.
Yeah, it's an important one. I heard someone say the girl would be Cindy. I did see that online because there's a C on the block.
Mm-hmm. It'd be a fun twist. I do think if it was Cindy, they just say it though, because that would give so much hype. That they wouldn't need to do anything else. They just put the word Cindy and everyone would be like, "Oh my god, #1 hyped house." So I think it's gonna be someone else. Just for that reason. If it's someone we knew, I think they would let us know that it's somebody we knew.
Yeah. Did you notice? I'm just seeing it in the middle of the O. There's one eyeball.
Oh, no, I'm never gonna be able to see that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ryan's been eavesdropping, but he wanted to drop in and say dolls is pretty high up on his list. Well, welcome to the chat. We appreciate the eavesdropping though.
We do.
Sometimes you just gotta lurk. I lurk in the hotline stream sometimes. I'm eating or something and I can't be like the type. Sometimes I like to watch my friends do things. That's it.
It's true.
I'm sorry. And boom, she's gone. She's back.
Magic.
And then one more. The face you made when Jess left. I have to watch it back now to see the face you made.
I was so scared. I'm like, oh no. Like, what if her internet just went out for the rest of the night? I'm just gonna have to read comments.
You can't. I don't even think you can end the stream when you're not the one running.
No, I'll just be like, I'm leaving, guys. Bye.
Just leaves, and it never ends. It just
never
ends.
Won't be able to pull up the art. Like, so let's talk about this house. What do we think?
Kimo says no one knows who Cindy is. Only us freaks.
The general public does not know who Cindy is. No. That is correct.
No. Oh my God, Christine, you're too funny. This might be Taylor Swift status, but are the die on the table? What number are they? 2 and a 2 or 2 and a? Oh, is it 20? Is it 24? 34? No, 20. I can't see that.
I only see the comment bar, so
no, I'm looking on like the big art on the.
Oh yeah, let me see.
Actually, I have it on my phone. I could zoom in.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my phone? See, now I'm gonna get distracted.
That's a 2 and a 5.
25.
If it's a 24, that'd be fun.
So it means nothing.
No.
Nothing. All right, that's mostly all the comments on this one. So I guess we'll move on to the next one that I can't wait to talk about.
Yes. It's time.
Grave of Flesh. Not Grave of the Flesh.
That was so... They did this last year with Museum Deadly Exhibit and then Deadly Exhibits. It was always supposed to be Deadly Exhibits, but the description said Deadly Exhibits. And so the whole year we're like, or, up to it, like, what is it?
How many exhibits?
How many are there?
So it's Grave of Flesh. The description is, welcome to your funeral, where things are about to go from bad to worse. You'll enter your grave and then pass through the gates of the underworld, where flesh eaters who feed on the dead will be waiting for you. Get lost in their cavernous underground world where an endless gauntlet of flesh-eating creatures will hunt you mercilessly for all eternity.
Ooh.
Graveyard, funeral.
Are you going to do that while you're like walking into the house, walking through the door?
Yes. It's my first graveyard. Remember, Ghost in the Graveyard? That's just going to be me the whole time. It's actually going to be me and Duff just skipping through the house arm in arm. like the Shining twins saying "Ghosts in the graveyard, ghosts in the graveyard."
Single file. No.
I look at them and be like, I waited how many years for a graveyard house to come back? Ghosts in the graveyard, ghosts in the graveyard. Can we talk about these flesh eaters though on the key art?
Scary is there's some people who don't like them, which I think is fair. There's some people who are comparing them to mouth brooders.
I can see that.
Which I do see that. However, I'm imagining this guy coming at me, sharp teeth, the eyes, glowing, the sharp claws or whatever, and jumping at me in a tight corner.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm dead. It is my funeral. I have ascended into the afterlife, because I'm just imagining these costumes going crazy in a house. Especially, I'm going to be honest, out of all the originals this year, this one looks like the one that's going to try to scare us the most.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be the scary original. That I'm sure that they got a message from last year's Insidious house that people want something that is its main priority is to be scary. I think that's what this house is going to be. I think it's just going to be pretty, and I think it's going to have scale because the rumored spot for this in terms of the spec map is a soundstage. So I think we can do lots of scale into this. But yeah, I'm imagining tight spaces. I'm imagining these creatures jumping out at you, dirt, walls, stuff like that. But with scale. So if you want to look like you're going underground, like this, concept art implies, or going underground, we died in a soundstage, you can build up. And so, you can almost see the top and see how far below you are, while still tight. I think that's sort of the best way to sort of do this type of thing. And I think it could be terrifying.
Yeah. Like for me, I think that the thing I'm comparing it to in my brain is like the beginning of Poltergeist mixed with Wicked Growth.
Yes.
And like Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I'm hoping, and I might be getting my hopes up. But I think it's interesting that like when we were looking on the spec map, we were like, oh, this is going to be a graveyard. So it's going to be ghosts and spirits. And like, maybe we don't know. And now it's like, no, these are like monsters and we're the spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of love that because we don't get that a lot as like a graveyard take. I know people are probably going to say, oh, this is just a zombie. I see some chat that's already saying like, these are just zombies. And I'm like, I don't know, because we're in the underworld. I don't think it's just that. Like, I think they're giving it a little bit more, hopefully. Again, might be getting my hopes up. But I think that scenically it's going to fill that hole in our heart that like we want from Scarecrow or from Wicked Growth. That like Halloween-y kind of vibe in the dirt, harvesty, but like visceral.
Yeah.
Which we don't really get.
No.
Except in like Scarecrow.
Yeah, if they can make this like Scarecrow in terms of the intensity with scares, which I mean that's hard because it's not like there's scare design and there's the way the house is laid out, but then there's also scare actors and stuff like that. Like there's a lot that made Scarecrow what it was. It's never one thing. It is the magical combination of lightning striking and everything working together like just magic. That's when a house really shines. You can't do that on paper. Like you just got to do your best you can in every area and hope something clicks a lot of the time. I hope this is one of those cases, because if it's one of those cases, mixed, scares mixed with the fact that it's Halloween, it's the Halloween house. Every year we get a house that's very Halloween vibes. Last year, Goblin's Feast, even Major Sweets in a way. But this year, I think that's what this house is going to be. I don't know. I'm excited. I want a house that's going to scare the hell out of me. I really do. Insidious didn't do that for me. I want this.
Crazy.
I know. I didn't the last one I ever did. I got a couple scares, but like
it's because you didn't go through with me last year. I'm telling you, that is why. Because together we are like the biggest bitch babies.
We really are.
I don't know what it's the Goglathan. I don't know what it is. The powers do not activate in a house.
Doesn't matter. It's just it's terrifying. It's scary.
In Hollywood, I didn't get scared last year, and I think it's because you weren't with us.
So I didn't really get scared either. There was
See, and then like Flat put a video of us on the wall with Hyde from 2 years ago.
hide and seek, get away.
And just Duff in the background, just
laughing.
Like, no, go away.
We single-handedly made him put Monsters Unmasked like higher on his ranking because of our reactions.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Shall we
but
see
yeah.
what the what the chat is saying?
Let's see, because I've been hearing different opinions on this. I've been hearing
yeah.
highs and lows, and I'm curious to see where the chat is sort of lying with this.
Well, 8-bit, I just have to show this one because it made me chuckle. I'm at my own funeral. I'm gonna be looking to see who's crying the most. Correct.
Yeah.
So are we gonna get one of those the mourner scares where you think it's a mannequin?
Oh, it could be.
Maybe in the first room.
Very possible.
Robbie pointed out that they have an issue with the key art because everything's copy and pasted in different angles, and now I can't unsee it.
Oh.
Like at all. Damn.
Yeah.
That's okay. Christine, what's your idea? I want to know now. I know. I'm like, you're going to be disappointed. I mean, if you don't want to tell us, it's okay. I understand.
If you don't want to like put it out into the universe, so like it doesn't. I get it.
Tell us after opening night. Oh, see, here we go. Sakatumi says, I was kind of excited, but leaning more into monsters and spirits is kind of a bummer. I get that.
I do get that, but I think maybe in their head we're already having a house focused on ghost and spirits, and so if we had two, it might have been a little redundant. But also we is kind of focused on spirits because that's who we are. You know, we're the spirits, or at least that's how they're sort of implying we're transitioning. We're going to the underworld, I assume. But then it says grave of flesh, and they're after our flesh. So are we spirits, or are we like?
We're at our funeral. So once you enter the grave, like your body is entering the grave. So you still have your flesh.
Oh, okay. So like this is just what happens after. Okay.
There's just gonna be it's gonna be just like Monstruos. There's gonna be a grave that says two.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna start. It's perfect.
That's it.
And it's gonna be this guy just going.
Yes. I live for that. There was a creature in Ghostbusters that looked like this character.
Oh, I see. I know what they're talking about. In the hallway? In the containment room, the dark room on the right, there was one that looked like this.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
He was terrifying. I hated him.
He was aggressive too.
Oh.
So maybe the costume's getting reused times 20.
Yeah, it's possible.
Albert says this is the most generic one announced this week. Looks like a Hollow Scream house. I can totally see where you're coming at.
I get it.
I will not disagree. It just I don't want to say afterthought because that feels unfair. They don't really do afterthoughts at the event except for like Hellblock as like a replacement. But there's something to be desired, I guess. So, Christine says she's a feeling we're going to be looking through your eyes walking down the aisle or being carried in the coffin.
Ooh. That would be incredible.
Ooh. Okay. To mouth brooders. They're from Depths of Fear from 2019. They were like fish boy creatures that actually ended up causing a lot of issues and injuries. And by the end of the run, we had like no mouth brooders left.
Yeah.
And then they burned all the heads, except then they made another one for Hellblock or had another one. I'm not sure how that goes.
What if these creatures are in stilts? Or some of them?
They have to be.
In a soundstage, that's a reason for it to be in a soundstage instead of a sprung. Put some of them, make them like the poltergeist characters when you enter the afterlife, but like, you know, more maybe like instead of bulky or just like, you know, sort of thinner and more agile to come at you. That would be, that'd be perfect.
Damn, I did have a thought. Like, I know that obviously we don't survive in every Horror Nights house, but like that's generally what we do because Depths of Fear, that was the whole point, is that we didn't survive. We're already dead in this one.
Is it just transitioning? Like we're can we make it to the next step and we're in like purgatory almost? Like this
now
is just
we're getting religious on you.
well this has to be what this is, though, right? Because we're going the next step, but there's things trying to stop us.
Well, I mean,
or maybe this is just hell, or no, not hell, underworld, and this is just what it is. Like this is the afterlife already, maybe.
Yeah,
but like there has to be a reason. I'm so curious about their lore and what they do and what their purpose is. And
we need the podcast.
We need it because now there's a lot of questions that open up about what our purpose is. What their purpose is.
Yeah. Tubby, we talked about dolls about 10 minutes ago.
We did.
We did a lot talking about it, but I'm pretty excited about it, but it's not high up there on my list so far because the rest of the event is pretty much made by me. So sorry if y'all are gonna get sick of that joke. It really do be feeling like I made this event.
I'm convinced you did. I'm convinced you went into some office and
I believe
they got your notes. You had just a wish list on your phone. Someone you like in line or something, you had it pulled up and someone saw it and went, and then just took it down and there we go.
Pulled up on an iPad.
On a tablet, just had it
right in front of Darkmoor.
Yeah.
I knew where to stand after that happened. I knew. There you guys go. I stood out there with a sign that says WWE belongs at HHN.
They saw it. That's yeah. Anyway, that's the goggle thing in this stream.
There we go.
There we go. That's the chaos.
Jordan says we've seen they can do a great job with graveyard scares on with deadly unrest. Excited to see a house. Agreed.
Oh yeah.
And I'm kind of happy they're not just doing graveyard the house because we've had that.
Yeah, we needed a new take. We needed a new way to do it because at the end of the day, if they did the graveyard house again, even though we'd be excited, we'd all go, we're now comparing it to graveyard games. And that is not a comparison you ever want to make. You never like in terms of if they're both graveyard houses, graveyard games is one of the best houses HHN has made. Topping that or even getting close to that is hard if you're just doing the same aesthetic again. But here they're not trying to do that. It's clear we're going to get a graveyard. It's in the concept art. Like we're going to get one. But that's not the focus. The focus is what's going on below. And that is I think that's a really smart choice.
Yeah, I agree. HHN Scott says, Murdy posted something about scary being a goal. I hope both coasts have the same goal. I think there is synergy in that statement.
Yeah.
From Murdy.
I'm sure both coasts went and said, hey, both are Insidious houses. Everyone was, because even Hollywood's people were like, they had the challenge there too, about how scary Insidious was. And it, in terms of, I wouldn't say Horror Nights gets a lot of traction on TikTok besides like our communities that we have already. Insidious broke through. And Insidious was everywhere. Even people who did not follow Halloween Horror Nights knew about the Insidious house being very scary. When Horror Nights is able to do that and break through our little community and manage to go to other people without even having to do any marketing, it just exists. I think that sends the message to companies and going, okay, people want this. So I think both coasts are going to aim to be more scary this year.
I hope so, because you go to the event to get scared. Like
it's important.
And yeah, we need a comedy house. We need certain things. There are certain like tropes that we definitely need the houses to fall into. We need a slasher.
Yep.
It's just like different like things you need to feel like you're in Halloween, but we could make 9 really scary houses and 1 comedy house every year, and I think that's great.
That's a great balance. I love it. Let's just
the scary houses could fall into the blood house, into the I don't know, like the cemetery house. Like, you know what I mean? Like we kind of follow those tropes every couple years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I did not see this, but Legacy said that this house is Catacombs-esque and focused on scares.
Yeah,
Catacombs Black Death Rising.
There we go.
Big loved original in the community. Very exciting.
Yeah, that's definitely what this concept art implies, or this key art implies. We're going to be deep in the, underground.
Yeah. Oh no, Robbie says it looks like they skinned the creature from the Black Lagoon.
It does. Why did you have to say that?
Not Gil, man. No, he's just hanging out in Monsters and Chains. All right. That's exactly what this character's doing too, actually.
It is. They all
Honestly.
just do that. That's it. They're all little animatronics that go.
Yeah. Arkham makes a good point. Technically, we got graveyard games. It would be a repeat if it was ghosts.
Yeah,
I agree. They have to go somewhere else, because if not, we're just gonna say, oh, it's ghosts in the graveyard. So now I gotta come up, definitely I gotta find something to skip our what are they called? Flesh eaters in the graveyard. You have to skip with us too. I'm sorry. I don't know why, but we
I guess, yeah. There we go.
Seatown, I feel like you die at the end of. See, I think so too, but then a lot of the times you make it out alive.
You do make it out alive a lot of the time, which is weird, because you would think they'd want you to die
right
every time, but some houses, but yeah, it's kind of crazy, because when Depths of Fear killed you, they made sure that was like a marketing point to like, and in this house you don't survive.
They said it was the only house that you didn't make it out alive in that year.
Yep.
So that's where I'm like, I feel like that's kind of what started this whole like, well, do we survive in the house or not? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is going to be the most marketable year.
IPs, yeah, and
everything.
Everything.
I really think so.
I think
Catacomb games.
Oh my god.
No. Scott can't unsee the creature without a skin. I can't either. And now I'm
traumatized. I gotta go.
God.
I can't think about that.
Bye, Jonathan. See, he was gonna stay. And
I was
now
gonna
we've
say,
upset
but
him.
yeah. I'm just walking to work. I'm here, guys. What?
Where do we think this house is going to be located? Speculation says this is in Insidious.
Yeah, it's that.
That
soundstage 24B. Yeah, I think, based on the top of my head,
it's A or B. I
think it's B, because there was a whole thing about A not being. Yeah, so it's B. In terms of speculation, in terms of the Horror Night Spec map, that's where this is.
Yeah.
Things could change, but I think their map has gotten pretty accurate at this point. We're close to the event by now.
Yeah. So there's also Hellblock that ends with a big boom.
Does end with a big boom.
Just one boom, not 5 booms.
No, actually, it did go like. Maybe it was 5.
I'll leave again. And one more before we move on. I agree with Seatown. Anyone can make a really scary haunted house, but only Universal can make an awe-inspiring, somber, or real in-depth house.
That's true. I think they can do both at the same time, though.
Yeah.
Like I don't think the things are mutually exclusive. There are some amazing houses like Graveyard Games that had a really in-depth story and great effects and great sets, and it also was very scary. Darkest Deal, one of the best stories HHN has told. Had great effects, had really nice sets for a sprung tent. Was scary as hell. You can do both. And I think that's what they should strive for most, if not all, the houses. There's some that you want a house that's not very scary. Usually, honestly, the IP. There's an IP. I think FNAF is going to be the house that's just, look how cool this looks. Isn't it so impressive? I don't think it's going to be very scary. But for the general public, having an IP or two that's not their goal. Their goal is just to be in the movie. That's fine. But I think especially with originals, we should lean to making them all like that balance of scary, but also, beautiful in the story and all that. But that's the point. They're not exclusive.
Yeah. And then is this the half with the long haul or without? I'm pretty sure it's the half with, but we talked about it a couple months ago that like the entrance and the exit of the house might be different this year.
Yeah, honestly, we're not even We're not even gonna know how that's gonna look till we see it because it's so confusing. But yeah, who knows? Who knows how it's gonna look?
Yeah, literally, who knows?
Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe like at the end we're sending to the next plane and it's like the hallway and there's lights and stuff. That'd be cool.
Exit through the entrance this year.
That'd be fun if that if that's the
Cool.
way they go.
There's a lot of things that we aren't gonna know until team member preview.
Oh yeah, I think there's a lot of things Universal isn't gonna know until team member previews.
No, but we can move on to something we do know, and it's the last original house.
Let's go.
There's Garaka.
There she is, Galkin. I was gonna say he is because Garaka, but no, it's Galkin. Different character.
I thought Garaka was a girl too.
Yeah, that's fair.
She was serving. Do you want to read this description?
I can read this. Here we go. Galkin, Monsters of the North. That second part's important because I think if it was just Galkin, everyone would be like, what? In a remote northern village, a wicked being rises from the dead, bringing a horde of monsters and demons from the fjords to wreak havoc on the townspeople. You'll face icy, horned, winged, and wolfish fiends that gradually merge into one giant horror. Then you'll try to escape the belly of the beast. Wow. What a great final announcement compared to Triplets of Terror. This is a great way to end it off. Because it is something that there was a lot of rumors, in terms of originals on spec maps and stuff like that. And of what people were thinking they were going to be. And I think for the most part, everyone kind of got it right. However, if we're even pointing to the latest Horror and Nightmare speculation map that came out the day before they knew all these originals would drop, they were like, here they are, because they wanted to see, here are the originals, we got them. They didn't get this one. I don't count it. I don't think they got it. Because everyone was on this Vikings train. And that this is going to be a Vikings house. And we said on the podcast, we were like, we don't think it's Vikings because we think it's one of those cases where it's the people just want to stick to something and they don't want to let it go throughout the entire season. There's cases like that every year. This is, while it's sort of in the same realm, this is not a Vikings house, guys. We're dealing with creatures. We're dealing with like wolfish creatures, horned creatures, icy creatures. We're dealing with so many different things, and it's so just refreshing to have something that nobody really knew. And so I think this is a great final announcement. I did a long rant for just say one simple thing, but yeah, just Galkin.
Okay. I will say the chat is saying that it's Norse inspired, so it is Vikings. And like, I get what they're saying, but I also get what you're saying. Like, Vikings are a part of Norse like history and culture and everything, but like, this is like, it's just the monsters. It seems.
Yeah, they have not hinted towards
it's
Vikings.
Not Vikings undead Galkin or something like that. Like maybe we'll see victims that are Vikings or were Vikings at one point, but this isn't like, to me, I get what you're saying. It's not reading like we're walking into the museum scene.
Exactly.
On the Viking ship, like we're very clearly in a forest. Like there's northern lights in this key art. Like they're going to play with lighting. They're going to play with scenic. They're going to play with obviously the temperature. Like it is Norse inspired, but I just don't think it's
the Viking. At the end of the day, I think a house is like, it's not its victims, because Vikings could be the victims. That's true. Absolutely. But that doesn't make a Viking house. I think a Viking house is if the Vikings were attacking you, and then it's like, okay, they're in the, but if they're just, that's not they got it wrong, and it's okay. Sometimes,
and there might be Vikings all over this house too. We don't know. We've never seen it.
It's possible. I mean, I guess it's description doesn't indicate it or the key art, but it's possible that there's a bunch of Vikings and we walk in like, oh, never mind. But just in terms of like what we have officially announced, it doesn't seem like they're going that route. But who knows? It could change.
Yeah. Let's see what the chat's saying besides "you're wrong, Jonathan."
I don't think I don't know.
Norse inspired is not the same as a Vikings house. Like
No.
they're all in Norse, like in all of their it's all Norwegian like culture and history and everything like that. But this is like specifically looks like we're leaning into Norwegian folklore.
Yep.
Which it was probably spread by the Vikings, so I get it, but it's like it's more than that. This is about Gulkin and the monsters. So, oh, and look, Arkham looked it up. Gulkin means monster beast.
Oh,
northern monsters.
So is Gulkin not the name? Wait, no.
I think it might be.
A wicked being rises from the dead. I don't know. Who knows?
We'll find out in 60-something days, though.
We will? That's crazy. That's so crazy to think about.
But the ghost lady has Viking horns. Those are very clearly antlers. I know they're the same thing. I'm just gonna keep fucking with you guys at this point. I think it'll be in a soundstage and very cold. Okay, Manic. I hate to break it to you. Right now, this is rumored to be in tent 3, one of the new tents. Yeah. But they can be cold. They have AC. And so there's no reason.
Huge space. Those tents, we've talked about it, but I think this year they're going to utilize a lot of the space, because last year, remember, the tents weren't put up until like about now. It took a long time for them to put up, and houses take a long time to build. They have to take a lot of effort, a lot of time, and the location wasn't even a thing until now, or around now, last time, last year. So I don't think they utilized all the space in those tents. There have been people who've sort of been like, here's an overview of Goblin's Feast, and you can be like, man, they use no space in this thing. And Goblin's Feast seemed pretty big and tall, and we thought they used a lot of space there.
But it's short.
Yeah. So yeah, it was short. It was a very short house. So long story short, I personally think, based on just, I don't know, the tents have been there now forever, that this is going to be almost feel like a soundstage house, because they can be now. The tents are big. They're really big. Yeah.
They're huge. And they were chilly. They did Monsters, and it was snowing in there and cold. This made me laugh, Tubby. So you're saying the Viking ship has sailed on this one?
Yes.
There might be. I don't know. I don't design these houses.
That's true.
Because if I did, we would be Graveyard Games. We would be up to Graveyard Games like 8 at this point.
We could walk in, and the first scare will be a Viking, and I'll be like, rat.
We're gonna walk onto a fucking ship full of Vikings, and we're gonna have to look at each other and go, the live's gonna be really fun this week. Listen, we're wrong a lot, but I guess that's why you guys like us. I hope
that's true. We're honest, so we say our thoughts, so
we're opinionated.
That's a better word for it.
It's the Aries over here.
That's the goggles and powder.
Powder. Oh god. Phoenix says the merging of monsters sounds interesting. Y'all think it's going to be in a body horror way, like together, or something else? I think so. It says that it's merging into one giant horror, so I really think that's going to happen, and then we have to escape the belly of the beast.
Like we go through its belly.
Ooh.
Or we get eaten, or like we have to. There's like a hole, and we gotta, like, someone cut a hole, and we gotta go through. I don't know. That's interesting. I'd love to see like this house end with like a big giant puppet creature. Yeah. Sort of like what I wanted Evil Dead Rise to end with in the house, and then it was just a little thing that someone pushed. But I want to. But yeah, I love a big beast puppet. That we haven't had one of those that was like moving and stuff in a long time. The last time I remember is Clownzilla. Something like that. So I'd love us to go back to that and do something similar.
You're really gonna forget the sandworm in the black hallway, Jonathan?
What a great beast!
You're welcome. You're welcome. But there was also a tweet from somebody that said that we're gonna have like a big moment with some big. I'm really not paraphrasing well.
You're basically saying what it said, and it has to be referring to this.
Yeah.
The big merged beast. What it is, it's gonna be just a big Viking. It's just gonna be a giant guy with a Viking helmets just pointing at us. No, but I'm
Mike,
excited.
Mike says, do we think Galkin looks like the love child of Garaka in Fear? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, Arkham says, before Ragnarok, there's a prelude called Fimbulwinter. So the winter is getting very harsh. Galkin takes place in the cold winter. Coincidence? I think not.
Is that Wolf from the like the one that Thor fights in
I don't
Ragnarok?
know.
I
You
know. I
think
wonder
I've
if
seen
somebody knows.
Ragnarok?
Oh, that's true. I think it is. I mean, but it's like in that movie, I don't know anything about nor much about Norwegian culture, so I'm going based off the MCU films that I've seen. But in that one, the wolf's huge. Like it's not just it's like a big giant. Like it can fight the Hulk. It's humongous. So I wonder if
I
we're
know who
getting
the Hulk is.
yeah. So think of the size, like the size difference.
Shit.
If we get something like that, that'd be really cool.
Wow. Okay, I have to show you these two comments. Clownzilla in the last room, but wearing a Viking helmet. How funny would that fucking be?
That'd be amazing.
We would have to turn around. We would have to U-turn and go back out the entrance of the house.
Just find the team member. Where's the closest exit? The house is about to end. We need to get out of here.
Albert said, as someone who's not going to be walking through any of these houses, this one looks like it could be the best of the originals.
Could be.
Yeah.
Very possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any of these have a run, have a chance. I think all these originals have potential.
Yeah, all of them. All five are. This year is stacked.
Yeah.
Just based on descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope. Oh, Tubby, you're funny. If we get the Wyatt House, we can add Viking on to this. Silly. Okay, Manic, I feel the same way. The wolf is from every wolf shirt in the past 10 years. Yeah. Yes. The big button-up ones where it's like looking off into the moon.
Same thing. Same exact thing.
Oh my gosh. All right. So that's it for the originals right now for Orlando.
Wait. Does that mean we're going somewhere else?
I'm gonna get on the plane, Jonathan.
Oh, can I stay in Orlando? The originals look really good here. I don't want to leave.
I'm gonna get into that, but I don't want to go to Hollywood either this year. Dad can't make us go.
He can't.
I don't want to go, Jonathan. Duff's not here. We could just bypass this whole thing and move on to the next one.
That's true.
Of course, what we're talking about is today Hollywood got their own original announcement amongst all of ours in Spooky Week. Our little brothers over on the West Coast, if you will.
They did.
And what was it? Monstruos.
That's it. You don't need to say the full name. That's what it is.
No. Monstruos. That's it. That's all we're going to say. Moving on. No, I'm kidding. I don't have the house description pulled up.
I do. Oh, so I can read it.
Do you know how to say the creatures' names?
No. So
if I go see, I need to pull it up then.
Yeah, that's true. So I can sort of fill this gap in a little bit. I saw the art for this house. I said house announcement. Cool. I looked. I saw the art, and the first two words that came out of my mouth, my brain wasn't even thinking anything. I just went, oh no, because I saw La Llorona as the main character. Just Monstruos is always a main character. They always say there's three monsters. At the end of the day, there's one that takes priority, and it's the monster ghosts we had 2-3 years ago, however long it was, the same year as Scarecrow, and I didn't even need to see the other two monsters. I didn't even need to look at them. I just went, I hate this. I do not like this idea. We're gonna get into it once we get the description up, but I'm not fond of this.
Yeah. So the house description, and forgive me if I don't say these correctly either. I am trying with my 2 years of high school Spanish and living in Miami my whole life. So one wails, one bites, one beguiles. La Llorona, La Muelona, and La Ciguanaba. I really hope I said that.
I would have messed those up. I would have. You would have started laughing. Like
that's why I was like, I probably have to do this. If Duff's not here, it defaults to me. Three legends. La Muerte wants you to meet, but you'll wish you never did.
But we did. I did meet La Llorona. We both did.
I feel like my tweet said it perfectly.
It did.
In a year of a lot of Hollywood repeats, we're having the third iteration of a house in this series where the first two were pretty much the same layout. And now we're adding a monster that we've had twice at the event. Granted, her house is amazing. The La Llorona house is fantastic. I love it. I think it was my favorite of the year. Like it was my 1 or 2 of that year. But I'm so worried that it's just going to be the Monstruos format with the same layout, with whatever La Llorona sets they could fit. And then the other 2 are just going to get shoehorned into her sets.
Yep.
And I don't want that.
No. I don't want it at all. I try to be like the most positive person in terms of Hollywood, like on the podcast. I don't try to be, just people just say I generally am. And I'm like, I think we're all kind of even, but whatever. I hate this move. I think it's a very poor move. Considering the other original we have this year is an exact repeat. So I can't even say they have one full original that is new, because we know at least a third of this house is going to have almost be a repeat, and have just carryover rooms from La Llorona. I am anticipating the end to just be the end of La Llorona. The big scenes that everyone knows, and it just ends like that. Someone asked John Murdy, why is La Llorona in this house? And he's just like, because people like her and she's popular. I don't even know if he wanted La Llorona in this house. It's very unfortunate that we have La Llorona being repeated, which is at least a third of this house. We have Scarecrow being repeated. Not announced, but come on. Poltergeist being repeated. Every exclusive that Hollywood has this year has elements or is a full repeat.
Yeah.
And so at that point, you have to wonder, why even go? If you've been going to Hollywood for years, you live there. Obviously, if you live there, you're going to go because it makes sense. But if you're like us who travel there and go to Hollywood, now that makes, we're pretty recent. So Scarecrow and La Llorona are the only things that we've seen. Duff saw Poltergeist. So now everything original and new, exclusive, I would say, are things that we've, one or all of us have seen before in some capacity.
Yeah.
Why take the trip? And it's something that I'm seriously debating right now, because it's a lot of money to go over there. It's a lot of time. You got to take off of work. You got to plan a whole trip. And I go for Hollywood. I like seeing the differences, but I go for the exclusives because stuff that we don't have. And I don't think the exclusives are anything to really be desired right now. But there's other monsters we can talk about too that are in this house. But just based on the past, I think La Llorona is going to be the focus, and it's really upsetting.
I'm going to be positive for a little bit, because I do know that we tend to rag on Hollywood because, we have our Orlando superiority complex, and I won't deny that. I love that this is a female-led house.
That is good.
3 female monsters. Like, this is amazing. Like, I will never knock that. Even last year with Monsters. Didn't love the house, didn't love the story. The fact that everyone on Orlando's creative team from the top to bottom who worked on it was female. and it was a full female cast. Like that is it's awesome. I love that. I love these characters look great. I do think that the one in the center looks a little bit like the art from last year. Was it El Kukui?
Yeah, kind of a little bit. I can see
But
that.
that's also just kind of what the character looks like. I looked up all of them. Like La Llorona is the most like known, I would say the most known Spanish folklore character. Everybody knows about La Llorona. And behind that, it would be La Lechuza because everybody knows the song.
Yep.
So it makes sense that like we're getting her again if they wanted to do all females. Like or even just try to figure out ones that they haven't done before. Because in I don't know which one it is exactly, but the one with the harder name. Now I can't pull it up. It just locked out of my phone. But there it's an El Salvadorian folklore. So we're getting more representation. Like this is awesome. I love this specifically out on the West Coast. Like it should be. Also, we should have something out here. We're getting Spain this year for Orlando. So like more representation is always going to be great. And I'm so happy for that. I just also kind of agree with like Hollywood overall is not really enticing me to go out there. And at this point, I'm considering not. And it was supposed to be Eugene's first year. And that's okay because I know like my thought process is Knott's is going to repeat their mazes for a couple of years. So if I take a year off and wait for Hollywood to like have a more enticing year for me, I'll just wait.
Right.
And that's okay. But it's not for me this year. That's okay.
Yeah, and that's that's totally fine. There's lots of people who didn't see Scarecrow, lots of people who didn't see La Llorona, and lots of people who didn't see Poltergeist or watch a video of it online. And if you haven't done those, go. I'm sure they're gonna be great houses.
Yeah.
We know Scarecrow is for sure.
Immersive.
So like if you haven't seen those things or really want to see them again, then go for it. But there just and I might end up going. It just all depends on a lot of factors for me in my personal life. But we both might end up going. Who knows what happens? But at the end of the day, it's just a matter of, is it worth spending all the money, time, effort to see essentially the same things? At the end of the day, and for some people that's going to be yes. Repeats good. They like repeats and go for it. For some people that's going to be no. And that's just how it works. It's all based on personal preference.
Yeah. But I do want to see how they do WWE and Jason and like it's just I like the exclusives like you said. So for me when the exclusives are not so exclusive, it's like, okay, and that's cool if that's what you guys have to do this year. I might just take the year off, and that's no knock on them. That's like taking away all of like the persona or whatever behind the Hollywood hate. Like I love it. I spend my PTO to go out there every year, guys.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't spend my own like vacation time to go out to somewhere I hate, but we also gotta rag on you guys a little bit because it does bother you. Just like when people were saying Orlando sucked last year, it did. Tell me. Let's go have a drink and talk about it together because I got a lot of trauma we can talk about. Let's see what the chat's talking about. Murdy did confirm it was meant to be a trilogy, so we were always going to get the third one this year. That is true.
Yeah,
100%. Albert, we know we don't have to go to Hollywood. We just said. I know this comment came before we said it, so I'm a little behind right now, but no, totally understand that. And I know you guys are gonna. That's your event, so you're gonna want to defend it. I totally get it. Robbie agrees. The one in the center does has the same face art for El Kukui.
Look at that. They're just saying everything before we ended up saying it. That's awesome.
Jordan, just stay here in Orlando. No need to take the trip.
we're considering it. We're thinking about it.
Duff is still gonna go because he's been going since the beginning of time, apparently. To Hollywood. So not really. He's just been going since like 17 or 18. I can't remember. But
yeah, if I was committed that long, I'd be like, fine. Like at that point, just got to keep the streak.
Yeah, and like it'll suck if I don't get to see WWE, but maybe it won't.
Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be a blessing in disguise, not seeing their WWE. Who knows? Who knows?
Scott wants to hear you say, Everything.
Everything?
Fit in the house description.
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm not going to do that to myself. But before I almost did by accident because I almost started reading it because I didn't think about that.
I had been thinking about it like, ooh, are you sure? Are you sure you want to tackle this on a live? That's bold.
Yeah,
We
no,
can't edit this.
Yeah, it would have been would have fell flat on my face.
Yeah. Hollywood needs more people on the creative team. I agree.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we don't know. It can't be that John Murdy wants to do this. No person wants to, wants to just be like, I'm gonna just redo what I did. You know, when you're creative, when you have that type of brain, you want to make new things. You want people to see new creations of yours. You don't want to just be like, blah, here you go. Here's here's a repeat. Here you go. It has to be a mixture of, for some reason, only one person is doing all of this. I in terms of like writing, I don't know why. Might be budget, might be for some reason Universal Studios Hollywood doesn't think it should get more money in the bank, which is silly because how many people go to that event every year? It's crowded as heck. It's super busy. But I digress. Could be a lot of things. At the end of the day, I think it's a management issue. I don't, as much as it's fun to rag on Murdy because he is the face of Hollywood. He just has ended up being the face and it's just fallen upon him. It's not like he decided I'm sure he didn't walk up to Universal and said, I'm going to be the only person writing these houses. I'm sure Universal said, there's only one spot for people to write these houses and it's for you. That's a management decision. That's not on him. And I hope one day they change their mind because I think what we have this year is the biggest example of the management problems with Hollywood.
I agree. Albert says, so everything Orlando does is amazing and Hollywood is terrible.
No.
As I just said last year in Orlando was fucking terrible.
I think like, doing a direct comparison, talking about Monstruos, I didn't like Orlando's Monstruos house compared to Hollywood's. I thought Hollywood's first Monstruos was really, really, really good. And I didn't think Orlando's touched it. I know I'm there's different opinions, but like that's a direct Orlando Hollywood comparison. I think Hollywood did it a lot better. I think Hollywood does things. Last year I've been adamant to say I think the Weekend Nightmare trilogy was my favorite house out of all the houses I did. For Orlando and Hollywood, I think it was my favorite. In general, Hollywood won. I love Hollywood when they do things that I like, which is a lot of the time. I just really don't like when they repeat things. Because if Orlando repeated things, we would have the same conversation. We'd probably be more visceral about it because like it's unexpected for Orlando, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And again, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't spend my time and money going out there.
Exactly.
So this is an interesting theory from Mark.
Oh, they intentionally trying to get more people to choose Orlando for HHN this year in hopes that people couple that with Epic Universe visit. I mean, it's working. Might be working for us. The Scarecrow is the most interesting part of the bunch because Vegas is having Scarecrow. So I don't think that's intentional because it's honestly probably hurting Vegas. So I think it's just coincidences. Though it is a fun theory.
Yeah. Anthony says they're excited for this house and they're looking forward to it. As someone who only goes to Hollywood, they're excited for this year and its lineup. I love that. Great. No, that's what we want to hear from people, especially if you're only going out there. Like you should be hyped. We're Orlando locals, so we just cover the event.
Viewpoints.
Yeah. We've just always covered Hollywood, and I just think in the last couple of years, because we've been going consistently, our opinions have gotten strong. Again, not bad. It's not a bad event. You want to talk about a bad event? Dark Harbor. God, what a shit show of an event, and it sucks because it's such an interesting concept. Sorry, you really want to see me get mad and go into a Southern California hunt? I'll go in on that one again.
No, if we didn't like it in Hollywood, we wouldn't be talking about it. Like we'd just be like, and just avoid it. Every other like content creator who's not based in California does not talk about Hollywood most of the time. We just do because we enjoy their event. We really do. It's just like every event, we talk about the positives and negatives.
Yeah.
And just that's it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, if Hollywood announced Orlando's lineup, I'm sure they would be happy with it. If Orlando announced Hollywood's lineup, they would rightfully complain. Some things are good, some things are bad. I don't disagree with you, but also that's because we don't do repeats out here.
Yeah.
So they absolutely, oh my God, the fan base would be like, you want to tell us you're possibly not going to give us express passes on our frequent fears and you're going to repeat a house? Dead.
Yep,
Nobody's
that'd be it.
It'd just be everybody who's there for the IPs.
Mm.
Mike has a good point here. Sergio's story set in Spain, and Spain were some of the first settlers in Florida.
Oh,
That's a really interesting point.
one of two. Is there another point?
And Monstruos 3 is happening in Hollywood. Modern California was once full of people from Central and parts of South America. So they both fit. Yeah, 100%.
Look at that.
I didn't think about the Spaniards.
I didn't either.
And Florida. That's absolutely, yeah. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Manic, it has not been confirmed yet. This is
not
all
confirmed.
Rumored.
Rumors that have been staying consistent for months. When that happens, even though there's no confirmation, we'll never say it's confirmed. At some point, we're just going to be talking about it like it exists because if a rumor hasn't changed for, especially an IP rumor, it's very likely to happen in some capacity. So it's just what everyone in the community is sort of expecting right now. It gets a little redundant to say rumor every 2 seconds when, it honestly on the post I've done about Poltergeist in Hollywood, I've just stopped saying rumor. I'm just like, hey, unannounced Poltergeist house, because look at it. It's Poltergeist. Yeah. Unannounced Scarecrow house. We're at the waiting game for them to announce things at this point.
Yeah, we know they're coming. It's just, again, it could be a curveball. It could be like Evil Dead Rise and get pulled last second. I will be the most sad human you've ever seen on the planet if that happens. Just know that.
Yeah.
Albert, who said we were going to stop covering Hollywood? Just because we take a year off. If Duff's still going, there'll still be a coverage.
There'll still be coverage. Don't worry. We'll watch the walkthroughs. We'll talk with Duff. We'll be like, we're ready.
We'll be like, so this is what we thought we saw. Give us your firsthand experience. It won't be normal, but also we're just saying that, like, right now, financially, I don't know if I can make it to Hollywood regardless of the lineup. So
it could still happen. Who knows? It's just sort of like an idea that's flown through my head, your head a little bit. But there's literally anything could happen. I have no idea what I'm doing tomorrow, so things can change.
Right. I'm still getting my Beyonce outfit ready. That's what I'm doing.
That's true.
Manic, I am also the biggest Wyatt fan. I've been screaming for this to come to the event for 5 years, so I get it. I need this with every fiber in my being, and I don't think SmackDown's over yet, but they're in the Middle East right now, which I'm not going to talk about. But the Wyatts, not trying to spoil anything, tonight did not go their way.
Oh.
Yeah, they had a tag title match, so we'll see. I think SummerSlam is going to have a lot to play into the house if it does, end up happening. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah.
All right. Do you have any more? Oh.
Hydra says, check your GMs, Jonathan. We're not there yet. We're getting there.
Okay.
I don't think Orlando needs the attendance boost. I agree. We are talking about the Spec map in a little bit, actually.
We are. Oh, okay. I'll be ready to talk about it once we get to construction.
Do you want to go Hollywood or Orlando construction first?
Before we get to that, we do have a
brief
thing. We do have one thing to talk about. Dun dun dun. Horrors Untold. You might have seen us talk about this on our Discord server. If you've been a part of our Discord server, the Horror Fam Discord server, or our Twitter and Instagram, we post about this particular book because it's something we're really passionate about. Where a group of really creative folk have made a book for Horror Nights fans, made by Horror Nights fans. Basically, it gives you a very detailed and exhaustive sort of description and info and about lore and just details about what scare zones are, houses, deep diving into them and themes about Halloween Horror Nights. It has everything you need to know about Halloween Horror Nights. It's like the wiki sort of put into a book. It's great for people who aren't super big into the event and want to learn more. It's great for people who are big fans of the event and haven't caught on some things, icon lore, stuff like that, that can get really confusing sometimes. It's confusing to us, and we talk about it all the time. It has just a lot of detail about that. It's almost the wiki for Halloween Horror Nights. And in addition to that, there is a special story added to it that is sort of woven through the entire thing, woven through the HHN stuff, woven from other elements. And I don't want to give much away because it really has a lot to do with surprise. I don't want to tell you really anything about it. But basically, you're going to solve things. You're going to look in the book, you're going to go back to past pages, you're going to use sort of the ciphers, and there is a hidden message, a hidden theme, something hidden in this book that you are going to find. And it's almost like it's a little puzzle. If you've ever solved Legacy's clues, where he puts out a clue and that ends up relating to a house or an IP, this book is for you because it's all about solving clues, solving puzzles, solving riddles, while also being completely intact with Halloween Horror Nights, completely for Halloween Horror Nights fans, surrounding that lore of Horror Nights. It's really, really cool. And the reason we're talking about it to you today is not just to tell you how much we love it, because we really do love this book and everything about it. But we actually have a link in our description for 10% off if you use that link. Yeah, exactly. 10. There
And
we go.
booms.
And boom. But yeah, 10% off if you use that link in the description of this live. We also have posts on Twitter and Instagram about it too, if you want to use those as well. But yeah, use that link. You get 10% off of this book. If you like Halloween Horror Nights, if you are, we got about 60 days left around there.
64, 2, 3.
So somewhere in the 60 range. We still got a little bit of time left. If you want to spend that time, you getting it to go by faster for Halloween Horror Nights to start, reading this book and solving its puzzles and riddles and diving into it might not be a bad way to spend that time. Absolutely. So yeah, use the link in the description for 10% off, and there you go. You can grab your copy today.
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna, I guess we'll go back to Orlando really quickly for
let's do it.
Some construction updates.
What? Wait.
What?
Why is this an update? It's just a truss.
It's not just a truss, Jonathan. It's the truss outside of the lagoon.
What?
And if you don't remember, last time we had a truss right there, it was for the lagoon show, not for lighting for Mel's, like I've seen people speculate. It is like 150 feet away from Mel's. What is that lighting?
It's I guess people walking to Mel's, but
I don't know, man. But like, I mean, we're going to talk about the spec map in a little bit, but Lagoon Show seems to be coming back this year.
Yeah. And this was also this picture was taken by our mod Alex. The one on the left. The right is from the wiki. We didn't have a picture of Ghoulish at the time. But our mod Alex, he can look at things and go, I know what that is. He's kind of like Kevin in the way. He's like Orlando's Kevin, in a way.
We just keep racking them up.
Exactly.
People with this special skill set that we don't have.
But yeah, it's in the exact same spot as the Lagoon Show sign. There is no, there could be a couple reasons why this is there. We're not going to say we know for sure at all. But it's a huge coincidence it's in the exact same spot for the Lagoon showtimes. Now, if I'm correct, they only did this with Ghoulish. I don't remember if they did this with the other two, because I remember there was like an arch for it.
Yeah, it wasn't this truss. It was a little different.
Yeah, so that's why we use that example and not Marathon of Mayhem, because that's not a good example here. But yeah, I'm thinking Rip Ride Rocket's closing. We have confirmation it will be closed before the event. There's only 10 houses. You know, we need something else to push people away, to get people out of the streets. We need something else, and the Lagoon Show would be a perfect way to do it, especially with the properties. We've talked about it before, but the properties this year fit perfectly for a music centered Lagoon Show, because they all have songs that would fit well for a show like this, and B, that are very tied to their properties.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if this is saying that we're getting a Lagoon Show, we don't know for sure, but it's a good guess considering where this trust is right now. How would you feel, Jess, if it's finally returning?
I'm all for people eaters, even if I don't like a Lagoon Show every time. I liked Ghoulish though.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was taken from us. So
it was too soon.
People eater, I'm so down for this. Yeah. I just hope that we don't have any issues like we did with the Scarecrow Zone and the lasers.
See, that I only got to experience that once, and it was so funny because it just everyone in the Scare Zone, the actors were really trying their best, and I'm rooting for them. But everyone in the Scarecrow was just going, ooh, just singing as they were walking through, and I'm like, this is such a weird vibe, and I missed that when it went away. I'm like, I can never see that again. Yep. I'll never be that weird cross between Scarecrow and the Weeknd. It's never gonna happen again. So. Well, we'll see what happens. But if this is what this is leaning towards, I would be stoked.
Yeah. It seems like we're gonna get a lot more things to do. Yeah. This year, not just houses.
Mm-hmm.
But we have more.
Oh.
Now, Fear Factor stage. I know you can't see much from here, but we're gonna zoom in.
Whoa.
We already have sets being built for Nightmare Fuel.
I feel like the Fuel Girls have basically confirmed it at this point. Like, they have not been quiet about Nightmare Fuel returning. Obviously there's no confirmation, but there was, even at the Spooky Empire panel, there was a question someone asked or whatever, and then Michael almost slipped up and said it was happening. He was so close. But then it was like, if Nightmare Fuel were to happen, it might have a new creative take, creative lead, which we can talk about that if we wanted to. And then he went like at the end, like, oh, I almost caught myself. No, I caught myself. And it's like, yeah, everybody knows Nightmare Fuel's coming back. Not announced yet, but it's pretty, the writing's on the wall here. These are interesting sets for it though.
They are, and Seatown has a great point. Do my eyes deceive me? Will Nightmare Fuel actually fit with the event theme this year? I think so.
They were close. If they had the carnival 1 year before, it would have fit. They were so close.
So close. It feels like it is. This looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool.
I like this a lot. We're at the point.
Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
No, we're at the point now where we're seeing theming now in construction, not just trusses, literal theming,
actual like set decor, like the. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Which means, they're probably going to start rehearsing maybe like end of July, then right beginning of August.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're at the park late enough, you might hear some music and see some lights.
Yeah.
Just in a couple weeks. Oh my God. But we have more, Jonathan.
Oh my goodness.
Trusses.
Now, if I'm correct, this is the tent that Slaughter Cinema 2 was, and I think this year it's rumored to be Hatchet. I think that's where it was in the spec map. I don't remember. I think it's rumored to be. Or no, is it Dolls? It might be Dolls.
That's why I'm hesitating now, because this looks like it could be a dollhouse.
It might be dolls. Yeah, I could. Someone in the chat can remember for us which one this is rumored to be. Interesting, interesting sort of facade or layout here.
Yeah, big.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really always get the front of the tent like fully covered. Actually, rarely do we get that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited for that. Like, even if it's Hatchet and Chains, like whichever one it ends up being, that's exciting to me.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see how this construction goes on, and you can see it really visibly from in park. They don't try to hide it. They used to have a lot of fencing and stuff and trees where you couldn't see any of this, but they took that all down. And now you'll just be standing by the Simpsons ride in a completely public area. You'll just see a facade. Like
Yep.
it's um way easier to see than ever before. And it's you can. So we'll be able to see in the future how this evolves and shapes, and it's gonna be fun. I love seeing little updates like this.
Yeah, we used to have to. I remember when I first joined the podcast and we like started the TikTok, having to get like I had to watch Animal Actors so many times to get facade shots of Tent 2, I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I love that show. I love seeing the animals, but like every time I went, I was trying to get a shot. And I just saw that show so much. And now I don't have to. Just
It's
go to The
just
Simpsons.
out in the open. There you go.
Yeah. This is a good point from Tubby. If you hide it, people are going to snoop. And if you leave it out in the open, nobody has to snoop.
Yeah.
That's how
People
Hollywood
walk
gets all
past
their
it.
programs.
They don't see it if it's out in the open.
No.
They won't notice it. You know how many people walk into the Fast and Furious ride and don't realize that right next to it is a big giant tent with a thing you can see, just like a visible piece of facade or something?
Yep.
People don't notice. They just walk right through.
No. Jordan, I was a regular. I love the otters there. And they have corgis, and I have a corgi, so I always go visit the corgis. I do love them. But unfortunately, that's all we have for Orlando right now.
It's time to move to Hollywood.
Hollywood. Monstruos.
Now, as always, these updates were taken by our Hollywood correspondent, Kevin. So thank you so much, Kevin, for heading to the park. And so
We should
we
say
have,
gracias because this is Monstruos.
yes, John Murdy did confirm this is Monstrace. I'm gonna just calling it that. And I remember he had a specific tweet. I don't remember if we have that, but basically every oh, perfect.
It's not in here. I mean, I could.
Yeah, but basically he said it's located in Parisian Courtyard. So we got confirmation there, and that it's the final act in a trilogy that they started back in 2023. And then if we move to the next tweet, he says,
Look, Jonathan didn't even give me a chance to sing the song, guys. So be mad at him.
Oh wait, I forgot.
I'm totally fucking with you. It's okay. We're already here.
We're
Just
already
saying,
here.
if anybody says we didn't get the Murdy tweet song,
It was my fault.
This guy.
I'm sorry. I was like such a rhythm of like construction. I totally forgot. I'm upset at Murdy right now because no, I'm kidding. It's not his fault. But for
what else did he tell us?
it was intended to be a trilogy. But the facade, in terms of what we were talking about here, is like we're painting the camera to focus on a different part of the cemetery each year. You get to see the new part of the cemetery coming together now, and it's a cemetery of the lost, is where all the victims of Monstruos are buried. And it's also a supernatural portal into their worlds. This time it'll take you to Mexico, Central America, South America. Muerte, the caretaker, is back again, but this time he'll meet his pet.
What does that mean?
I guess we'll see Muerte's pet at the end, and the pet will be like, "No."
Does he have like a hellhound?
I guess that makes sense.
Does his like shovel come to life?
But that very possible. The pet will just be like I'm trying to think of like Scooby-Doo, those instances where on all fours, right? And the grave will be next to him, and then he'll just lift one of the paws and just go like, just do the straight out point, like the cartoon straight out point, where it like sort of just goes back and forth. That's what it's gonna do.
Hydra, I
Oh,
know
it's
you
a cat.
didn't mean it this sassy, but it's a cat. Like that's how I read that. Like you smacked Jonathan upside the head and we're like, bitch, it's a cat. Murdy teased a cat in a prior tweet.
Oh, well, look at that. I guess it's a cat.
I feel like that the second one is even more sassy than the first one, Hydra. Oh my god. No, hey, a kitty, a gato. Gatito.
There we go.
Okay, I don't think it's a gatito. I think it's gonna be like a gordo gatito.
Oh.
I'm just gonna keep saying Spanish words.
There we go. And I'll just be like,
I said it's gonna be a fat cat. That's what I said. Because I couldn't think grande. I couldn't think of the word for big, but I could think of fat. Yay. He also got asked, why did you decide to bring La Llorona back? She's by far the most popular with guests.
Yeah.
She's great. I love her. Love her work. She's probably tired though. Are they paying her enough for this many appearances? I guarantee her contract was not multi-year.
Probably not, especially not multi-year in terms of like skipping a couple of years. There's no way.
No. Oh, see, Tubby gets it. El gato grande. Ooh, I heard a theory that each time we go to the cemetery, we climb the layers of fortune from poor to rich.
See, that's what you might have heard that theory from our Hollywood correspondent Kevin, because I remember we talked about that on the podcast, where that was sort of his idea. We can get back to the picture too, but it looks like a more grand facade. It looks more more money was put into it. It's less.
Go back to that.
Yeah, it's less dirty. It's more elegant. This could be for someone who is richer or famous or something like that. Instead of where we first started, where it was very not as clean looking, I guess, so to say. We got details in the windows. We can see the paneling there, the sort of rocks. It's very gorgeous. I think this is going to be absolutely beautiful to see when we see it up close. But that isn't the interesting part of this. The interesting part is the next slide. Now you might be saying, that's just a tarp. This area, according to our Hollywood correspondent Kevin, I'm not a Hollywood expert, and I don't claim I am. This doesn't happen. They don't put tarps in this area. We usually can just see the whole thing. And original theory was that they do this to protect, either they really want the paint to be protected from the sunlight, there's something really special here, which doesn't usually happen, or there's UV paint they don't want to get ruined. And then I just got DM'd recently from our Hollywood correspondent that in La Llorona, if you remember, there's the mausoleum with the UV paint that says La Llorona on it that pops up. And this middle portion is where we start entering the or we're already in the lair of the third and final monster. So that would make perfect sense that we're protecting some UV paint from the La Llorona section that we had before.
Yeah.
Could not be, but I think it's a good theory.
It might be.
Mm-hmm.
I trust Kevin, except on one thing.
the one that, yeah.
One thing.
One thing.
But also, that's not an IP I would trust anybody except like my husband more than me on. Let's be real.
That's true.
I know what I know. Well, no, I don't. You've heard me on episodes. I'm like, oh. Do you want to answer this comment from Jay? Do we have a prediction on when the next IP will be announced?
Oh, when?
After the 4th of July, I think. So not this week. They usually take a break on holiday weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So probably the week after, and I would assume, I don't know, if I'm a betting lady, I think it would be 5 nights.
Yeah. Multi-night would be probably next, maybe. Would it be ticket announcement and then whatever house comes with that, or do we think there's one more before a multi-night announcement?
Oh, that's a good point. Last year did they go on sale It was like the 13th or the 23rd. I can't remember which one. It was like between those dates. So we're getting really close.
We're getting close to whatever's announced at Multi. Could be Five Nights, could be Terrifier. Probably not WWE.
Not with the
But
tickets, no.
no. My prediction is WWE might be the last one. Do it like a Corpses, where it's the final IP, something like that. Where it's not one of your big headliners, but it's also, still gonna get traction. You throw it at the end there. Because obviously, we got Terrifier, FNAF left, and they're, we know those are going to be the things that they're going to highlight the most. So
Well,
you could
so
end up with Terrifier though, or something, or FNAF. Who knows? What's your theory?
my theory is SummerSlam is the 3rd and 4th, or 2nd and 3rd of August, 3rd and 4th.
Mhm.
One of those two. It's the weekend, the first weekend in August. That would put us about there for the announcement. So if let's say we got 5 nights, it would put us like within a week of that. So they also could even hold it as the last one until that weekend
Okay.
in August. And like not that weekend, but like announce it the Thursday before when like
Mhm.
SummerSlam kickoff is starting. And then it would just be, then they can promote it the whole weekend at SummerSlam. It's at MetLife, so it's at a huge stadium. They always have like a huge WWE shop that they'll pop up. They'll probably do like an interview about it. They'll probably have it all over like the promotion for SummerSlam. So it's going to be announced like right before it, or like a week before it, or the week of, I think.
There we go. That would make sense.
Yeah. Oh, here, Tubby. 2nd and 3rd, I'll be there. I'll also be there. So I'm very excited. Very excited.
All
Are the
right.
Wyatts performing again before the event after tonight? Probably. They're kind of in the tag division right now, so they're pretty consistently on Fridays now. So I don't know. I have no idea how that's gonna go. But we can move on to Hollywood Construction.
Let's do it. I wonder what this is. What do you think this is, Jess?
It's so different from the last one. There's a hole blown out of this back of it.
That's crazy. Yeah, this is Scarecrow the Reaping again. You even have the weeping eyes from the windows. It's the same thing. And that's all there is to say. It's Scarecrow the Reaping. There it is. Every time we show you, it's just more Scarecrow the Reaping.
Yeah.
Not much else to say there. But there is something interesting to say here, is that the Bates Motel, sort of this area has been cleared off. I think I might have done it the wrong order. I don't remember. This area is the part that's most important. But this is where they have all the cars, I think, or something like that. Just a little section. I could be getting this wrong. Hydra will correct me. But it's been cleared out, and apparently this is one of the this is very early to clear this area for the tram. And Murdy has indicated he wants to use this area more this year. So it could be indication that there's gonna be more for this area, because it's about to be tram construction. That's why they're taking out things in this area. They're gonna start putting up things. So it's about that time we're gonna start seeing wood rising, like Murdy likes to say.
Wood has risen.
Wood
I feel
has
like this
risen.
might be like a mini maze.
Yep, could be.
Maybe this year. I don't know. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that means as Norman moved to the house now on the tram, I don't think he's out here anymore then, because once his car gets moved, he normally goes up to the Psycho house.
That's probably where he is. I would
Yeah.
assume so.
Again, I know nothing about Hollywood, but I know that. Why? Why do I know that?
I didn't even know that.
Oh, you're welcome. I got one thing apparently.
There we go.
I got WWE and Norman Bates location on the daytime tram.
Let's go.
I know this is Poltergeist though.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
That's all we need to say. This is Poltergeist.
Tempo confirms I'm correct. He is at the house.
There we go.
Look at me. I know. Remember, I wish we could like put in the clip of me a couple months ago going, I don't know the Hollywood locations. What does this mean? But I do know where this is. The Mummy. The Mummy.
So, the Mummy Q. This was confirmed to be Jason Universe, as you could obviously see from the facade by now. I don't know if we have this picture in here. But yeah. Look at this. Look at this. Kevin's mock-up compared to the real thing. We'll obviously do a before and after when it's fully done. But look at it. It's like as silly as the original mock-up was, it was 100% right.
I don't know
It's
about
just
100.
crazy.
He
Well, okay.
had. I'm kidding. No, I was gonna be stupid. He has more trees on the right side on the top than he does on the left, and
Come
there's
on,
more trees on the
Kevin.
left than there are on the right, Kevin.
That's
So
true.
your tree placement, we got to work on that. But this is still my favorite mock-up like he's ever made because of the little tree emojis. I think it's so cute.
And it's perfect. He could have just put the shack and let it go, but no, he went all out and it paid off because it is what it is. It's the mock-up.
Yeah. No, I also just can't believe how big some of those tree trunks are.
Oh, it's gonna
And we're
be
gonna be like
gorgeous.
almost like weaving through them, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And we know there's a door on the side.
Yep. There's a door on the side for a scare actor to come out. Murdy's confirmed that. He said there's going to be a scare actor out front. Another thing is there's a sign there. And there's a whole story with this sign because first the sign popped down. It's on the right. It's like covered by a tarp now. First there was a sign there, and it said what was it? It was the sign from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It like 5 miles Crescent Cove with the
Oh,
and everyone's like, what? Killer Clowns? And I was kind of confused for a second, like, what?
yeah.
But then they ended up changing the sign. And Hollywood people, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it does say Camp Crystal Lake now. I think it says it. It's now covered by a tarp, but I'm pretty sure it says Crystal Lake. But someone could please confirm me if I'm wrong. But there was a picture of it before it got tarped, and I think it said that. Which
Wow.
changes a lot.
Somebody in the chat says yes, it does.
There we go. I mean, I guess they can cover it with a bunch of trees and just be like, "Oh, you can't see it,"
Oh
but
no, they say it says Crystal Lake only.
oh, it doesn't say Camp Crystal Lake.
That's how they're gonna get around it.
Oh,
Because the rights would be for the whole phrase.
oh, that's easy then.
So they're
Okay,
just gonna say Crystal Lake.
that's so smart because no one's gonna think about that.
And it'll
That
be
is
like
really smart.
camp that way or whatever.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
I do wanna put this up. This is so funny. Kevin was so off. That looks like it's made of clip art. The clip art is very realistic. You're right. You're right, Tubby.
It's
Also, I
true.
feel mean saying Tubby. I feel like I'm bullying you. Seatown, do we think the facade in Orlando will look the same? I don't think it's gonna be the facade, but it's gonna be the middle of the house facade before we
Yeah,
enter the tent.
you can kind of already see now from overhead pictures from BioReconstruct that this will be like the middle portion because you can kind of already see the shack from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, are these actually the old ET trees, or didn't he say that they were gone?
I don't know.
I
It
don't
makes
know.
sense though if those are the old. I mean, I'm sure they all have them in storage. They're just like, hey, take them out. That's why they're so big.
Everybody just touch one as you walk by the history.
History.
Oh, at least some are.
Mm.
Okay. All right. That's all we got for yeah, that's all we got for Hollywood construction. That's a lot.
There we go.
My God. If you're still here after 2.5 hours, we appreciate you.
We do.
Because I can't believe it's already been 2.5 hours. I feel like it's only been like 30 minutes.
We've been zooming through. But you know, it's when we talking about originals, time flies by fast.
We do love the originals.
We do.
Oh, they also use the old ET trees during FanFest.
Oh, during Dungeons and Dragons.
Sure.
That's what because I'm thinking that's the only place
Dungeons
they
and
would
Dragons.
be. Dungeons and Dragons. I was confused, like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, you were like, are there also dragons in this dungeon? I do want to answer this before we move on, Jess, since you know WWE so well. Do you think WWE will have something to announce the IP? And if so, what event would that be and when? So my husband was convinced it was going to be FanFest last weekend in New York, and I was like, there's no way. It's too early, and it's about to be Spooky Week. Can't fuck up Spooky Week.
Can't.
Sorry. He was like, no. And I was like, no. And then when it didn't happen, I was like, kind of like the facade with Kevin. I think that it'll be announced by Universal first.
Mm.
And then I think it could be a Friday announcement because they're on SmackDown. But I think it would be at noon or 1 or whatever. It'll have a video. There is actually there's a rumor. A couple weeks ago, the Wyatts had a closed set backstage at SmackDown about a month ago. No one was allowed in except Triple H, somebody from marketing and PR, and like that's it. And they never do that. So nobody knows what that was for. We haven't seen anything come from that yet. So I have a theory that could be for something for HHN, whether it's for house footage or maybe an announcement. But I think the announcement's going to be, they did this really good promo when they came back, I think a week or two before their first match. And it was about like how the loss of Bray like grew them as a family. And it flashed through all the characters, unmasked and masked. And it gave you like a good kind of like introduction to all 5 of them. And it was his brother talking and he sounded like Bray. Like it gave me chills. And I think that they could take that and make that into the announcement video.
That'd be really cool. That'd be amazing.
So yeah, that's just what I think. I don't know about when. I kind of agree with Jonathan. It's probably gonna be the last thing. And just also because of SummerSlam. Like I think that having SummerSlam like right on the end of that to keep the announcement going, like, oh, all right, the Wyatts are, I don't know, they don't have a match at SummerSlam right now, but they're in the tag division. There's gonna be a match. And I could see it like playing into that announcement in some way, shape, or form. But I could be completely wrong as well because WWE does whatever the fuck they want.
That's true. That's the one consistent.
Yeah.
One consistent thing.
That's a weird way to say TV glitching with JPEGs. Well, that's pretty much what the promo was because that's their thing is like the TV glitching. Yeah. So it would work really well. But I could see it being like how we've had the living rooms. It would be like a wrestling fan's living room. It's just my house. I actually filmed the promo, guys. It was me.
Oh, there we go.
Because I already have all the HHN wrestling stuff up on the walls. Ooh, maybe Saturday night's main event on NBC, Peacock. That would make sense. That is in the middle of July. So actually, I could see that. You know, that's my second option, Tubby. I like that choice because that's the same weekend as Evolution. So, like the 12th is Saturday night's main event and the 13th is Evolution. Yeah, 7/12. So, oh, Robbie says, do I have the flowers? No, it's a Snapdragon though, so I could probably get them.
It's true.
I have not forgotten what that flower is because it's a wrestling move. All right, we do have one more thing to talk about though.
We do.
Dun 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 dun.
I'm gonna be honest. When this Spec came out, I didn't look at it. Because we knew Spooky Week was basically gonna happen because Artist came out, and so I was not looking at this because I knew all the originals were probably gonna be announced the week after. So this is, I think, going to be both of our sort of first look at this map because we really didn't pay attention to it. And so there's not much to say about the houses because they're all what we know they are, basically, or what they have been for the past map or so.
Yeah,
and the originals are
WWE one.
Oh, there is a change there.
I would just like to point that out. Sorry, what were you saying?
We can talk about that one because that is a difference. I didn't even notice that they are. It seems like they are convinced that it is both the Wyatts with the bird and Undertaker with the coffin.
Yeah, but the Buzzard is a huge part of the Wyatt and Fiend, and one of the characters is literally Mercy the Buzzard. So. I don't, the coffin again could just mean spooky WWE coffin matches. I know Undertaker isn't like the most known for them, but a lot of people have done them.
I would say it could mean spooky WWE, but the fact that they have both is almost them trying to separate them. And I know the rumor in the community right now is that a lot of insiders on Discord servers and whatever Legacy has pointed us out. I think I think people think it's going to be both of them. I still don't know if I'm on that train. I think Undertaker can be in it, but not as a focus. You know.
Yeah. You guys know where I stand on that.
Yeah. But do we want to get to the scare zones?
Please.
Let's do it. I gotta zoom in. Okay, so the first entrance zone looks like it's gonna be a conservatory, which is what they said on the panel. So there's no surprise there. They basically said what this scare zone is gonna be already. So makes perfect sense. I don't think we have anything else to add there.
No.
Yeah.
Conservatory.
Let's move on to New York. And so New York has, if I'm looking closely, a radiation sign and a biohazard and a mobster.
Yeah.
So that's what that's a Horde of Nightmares thinks, that it's gonna be mobster radiation, mutant mobster, something like that.
Seems silly, but it also seems really good for New York.
I wonder where they got all this information about the scare zones. I wonder where this came from. But
I could guess an iPad.
I think I could guess an iPad as well.
It was me outside. It was actually me. No, I'm kidding. He was standing right next to me when I was pitching my ideas to HHN.
Exactly. It's just that magical area right in front of Darkmoor. Right in front of the Darkmoor portal.
Yes, we did see them. We just don't like to talk about leaks.
Yeah.
We'll hint at them and we'll laugh about them, but we don't like to talk about them.
Yeah. But now look at map, and it says it has a symbol, and it's a spec map that we talk about. So look at that.
Yeah.
I think we will go more deeper into this once we get into the podcast, and we'll talk more about these scare zones themselves. But yeah, mutant mobsters, something like that. That sounds cool. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
Moving forward into San Fran, I'm gonna be honest. I don't have it. I can't see it because it's too.
It's a group of people and one other person, and they're all going woo. They're all. It looks like a group of people dancing, like a party, Jonathan.
Like a party zone. Whoa, that's like crazy.
Lost a scare zone and it became a party.
See, the weird thing is they're still saying it's a scare zone though.
If it's a zone, like I
guess.
Can we call them entertainment zones this year or something?
What did Horror Unleashed call Horror Unleashed called it? It was like areas.
Yeah, like themed scare, fully immersive themed scare areas. Something like that. They said immersive about 25 times.
Did you know it's immersive?
But same with the HHN panel at Spooky.
Everything's immersive.
Is our focus this year.
I'd like to hope it is.
Right.
But just like it's not immersive this year, guys. No. Get ready for Blumhouse.
There we go. Immersive storytelling environments. Thank you, Heidi.
Yeah. But yeah.
Party. Woo!
It will be a party, not walking through a bottleneck in this area. Maybe. It still might be a bottleneck. It could be.
It's the texture of the immersive party area. Wall-to-wall teenagers.
Yeah.
That's the texture.
Lots of drinks everywhere.
Sticky. It's gonna be sticky. San Francisco is never gonna look the same again. We also have one more zone.
Well, we have two more, I think.
Well, that's not a zone.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's not a zone. But that is interesting to me that the party is orange, but the other thing is not orange on here.
Wait, what are we looking at? I think we're looking at different things.
What are you looking at? Oh, we haven't talked about. I thought we talked about Hollywood already. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay.
In my head, I had talked about it. I was like, we're done. We just have the cats.
We did it.
I'm so sorry.
We have the symbol here for a cat that's half cat, half human. We on the podcast we talked about cats because that's what this is implying. It has not changed, so there's nothing really else to say there. It's been the same since the last map. And then this other one, the symbol they had on the previous map was sort of hinting Mardi Gras. Sort of hinting it couldn't decide between Mardi Gras and Masquerade, and it gave no hints to anything else. We talked about how Legacy straight up said he thinks this is a vampire masquerade. And now that's what this map indicates, because now we have Masquerade, sort of mask, and also fangs. So they're saying Vampire Masquerade. Once again, we'll get into all these deeper on the podcast itself, but looks like these are our, they're saying these are our zones this year.
Yeah, more or less.
More or less.
Robbie, we will visit you. You just got to let us know your set times. If you let me know, I'll visit anybody. If any of you are in a house, no matter what you're doing, a zone, I'll come visit you. You just got to let me know. And then I'll put it in the schedule. I do it. And then I'll come by and go, the whole time. It's my favorite. But yeah. And then we also got something else on there. Interesting. Back.
Oh.
Well, we got two things that are back, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That have been gone for a little while. We have a chainsaw horde.
With, what is that?
I cannot say it.
I think
roller skate. It's the skating and the chainsaw.
So they're saying that there's going to be scare actors holding chainsaws on roller skates, just running around.
How I don't think any insurance company would approve that. Not at all. Can you imagine? No, I just think that this is them saying they're either rotating, maybe in the same area by like Mel's and down that street, or maybe like roller skating in front of Mel's, and then maybe they'll use like the Killer Clowns area right off the lagoon for the chainsaw. And then they're just not out during the lagoon show.
That could happen. What did you just say?
I'm sorry. The thing that actually barely looks like a lagoon show on the map. I was really confused when I saw this map. I was like, what is that? I couldn't even think of a funny thing to call it the first time I saw it. I was just like, huh. But yeah.
Yeah. This is the first time they used a symbol for lagoon. So there it is.
Not approve this horde.
It's true.
Yeah, Lagoon Show and then Nightmare Fuel, obviously. So a lot.
Lagoon Show left the map, and now it's back.
Well, I mean, we didn't need the map to tell us there's a fucking truss outside of it.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if that wasn't for it, though. But it's for that. Let's be real. We have one more map.
Hollywood. Not many changes here. The houses are the same, and everything. There's nothing really, really different here. Except there is something to note. The Terror Tram is still Blumhouse. It's still Blum. Has not changed. We were kind of hoping this was something that would change the next map, and they just thought Blum because, when in doubt, it's Blumhouse.
When in doubt, Blum it out.
Yes. No, actually, please, Blumhouse, go away. But they still think it's Blumhouse, and I'm gonna be honest. If it's actually Blumhouse, Terror Tram, this might be one of the worst Hollywood lineups in years. Like, in terms of exclusive stuff, at least.
I just feel like I'd rather go to Premium Scream in Orlando.
I know, like, it's cheaper, technically.
And I would still save money, you're right.
Yeah. That'd be absolutely the final nail in the coffin. Like, get ready for Blumhouse. Like, get ready for
get ready for me to stay in Florida. No. I didn't love I didn't hate the Blumhouse tram last year. I liked the first part with Megan.
That was unique.
That. So like the fact that they're going to use that area in maybe a different way or the same way, either way. Like, that's exciting. I do like that. I like when they break their format.
I do too.
But yeah. I guess that's all I.
There's also a scare zone. I also can't tell what that is.
I could tell you the crows have moved. They've flown south.
Look at that.
They went down the mountain.
Construction area anymore. They're little.
Oh, they're not against the wall.
They're not against the wall.
Okay. I had a problem the year that we all went as a show, and in the is that the lower lot? Yeah, the lower lot. I could not keep up with our group because of how crowded it was that night.
Yeah.
It becomes a clusterfuck down there because you have the soundstage house there. You have the couple of tent houses off to the side, like the other houses over by like Jurassic World. It is just a hub. And the escalators coming down. So like we were zigzagging between all the houses with our RIP guide. And at one point I legitimately could not find anybody. And Duff realized I wasn't there and went backwards and swam upstream to find me. And I was literally like, where the fuck did they go? I was just with them. Like, and I can't imagine how unsafe that might be for the crows on the stilts. Unless they had like an area.
They might. They could have a little section.
Yeah.
I feel like they're planned. They'll plan for that. I'd like to hope so, because the crows have always been in a pretty decent area. Yeah. So, and it's one of the most popular things. They understand there's demand, and people will film the crows and make a bunch of TikToks and everything. So, I'd like to think they have a plan for where they're going. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Is Jurassic World open during the event? Yes, but only till 11.
Yeah, it's till 11, or it's not the whole night. It closes at a certain time.
Yeah. But yeah. You got anything else on the Hollywood map you want to talk about?
If you can find out what that thing is, I can tell you about it. Anything else?
I can.
Yeah, so anything else? I think that's it. We went crazy at the HHN today. There was so much stuff to talk about.
Oh, it's a folklorico dancer. It's a woman.
Oh.
So, I mean, it might not be folklorico, but that's like traditional Latin dancing.
What could that be?
I mean, it's the Parisian courtyard exit, so maybe ladies, Hispanic ladies own.
That could be it. Oh, I mean, that fits with the house too. So there we go. It's gonna be like, it could be like Scream Queens, where you had the Bride of Frankenstein Lives, and you exited, and it was all the female. I gave you.
I don't know if my face changed, but my brain shorted for a moment there. I was like, what about Scream Queens?
What is with the Z? So it's different. It's a Z.
It's so funny because I can't hide my face. I was like, oh, I forgot that happened. Oh yeah, no, like that.
Could be like that zone where you exited. It's all the female monsters, so it could be the female Monstruos and more of them in different. But yeah, sorry, but I forgot about.
No, don't apologize. It's a very generic name. What's funny is people are saying we didn't talk about Chicago.
Oh yeah, the horror is unleashed. We haven't
a Midwest haunt thing.
Yeah.
I hope it's got different IPs than the Vegas one and Florida.
We can hope. I mean, it looks like they're expanding. It looks like they have a lot of hope in this. Yeah. I want. Quest. Yeah, it's hard not to make the same comparisons, but it was literally in Chicago is one of them. I'd like to think that they have data. They have everything they need that is proving to them that this is going to work. I want this to work. As a Horror Nights fan, I think this working is only beneficial to everything. Yeah. So I'm rooting for its success. I'm just very worried that it's not going to work. Based on the houses they chose for the first one, based on just how year-long or haunt events go in general, horror attractions, they have to really prove themselves and really stand out. And I think they have a plan and a vision, and they're really confident in it. And I want to go to Vegas every year and check it out. I'm just concerned that maybe they're going a little too fast, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's the fact that the Vegas one hasn't opened yet.
Yeah,
and they're already announcing it. I would have thought that this would have been like a Halloween time announcement or something.
Right,
like once they have the data. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I mean, tickets have been on sale, so like maybe they made enough off of like the initial hype that they were like, yeah, let's do it. I'm not saying the Midwest shouldn't have one.
No,
but
yeah.
Like Scott makes a good point. Hard Rock and Planet Hollywood did not do well when they showed up, and that's kind of like similar, not I wouldn't say like now as like companies, but like back in the day, that's what they were trying to do, was like be an entertainment venue.
Yep.
And that's what this is. And I think Seatown sums it up the best. History is a circle.
It is a circle.
It is a circle. So like not trying to be a downer at the end of the live, but like I just worry about the longevity of something like that, especially. It's a big city. A bunch of people visit all the time. I would love to go out there like just to see Chicago and then also do this, which it's even more of a reason now. But just things to think about. I'm very curious to see. Maybe this is where Five Nights goes.
Yeah, possible.
Trying to think of what their big IP is.
Instead of 5 nights, it's every night forever.
365 nights.
Whoa!
It's actually our house. We finally got a house.
We did it, guys.
It's just me and John Murdy doing this.
that's like Hatchet and Chains we're talking about, the scare.
Who's Hatchet and who's Chains? Wait, okay, so are we Hatchet and Chains too? Then?
Yes, and John Murdy is Red Hot Lava Demon.
I feel like it's not even a question of who's who. I feel like I am Hatchet.
Yes. I don't remember them, but yes.
He has a hatchet.
Oh yeah, and then Chains has his.
I feel like you could really like I feel like you could get a bitch with the chain, like, you know what I mean? And I'm just gonna chuck the hatchet across the people. I'm the chaos. You're the calculated.
It's true.
And that's
Red Demon, whatever he said, pulled him in.
Right. I would be like, Jonathan, get him. I'd be like, what? Pow! And I'll throw the hatchet at its head.
There we go. Teamwork
makes the dream work. All right, one more question. Seatown says, what original do you think that they go with in Chicago?
Scarecrow. No. Maybe something real. Wicked Growth is really safe.
Yeah. Graveyard Games.
Graveyard Games is safe. Yeah.
Graveyard. Maybe like Jack.
Yeah, 25 years. Well, no, just something
or
Jack.
Like Clownovision. Like not like take that concept and do a 3D Jack house or something. That could be cool.
Mm-hmm.
That could be cool. Tabby has a question. Are Hatchet and Chain demons that are hunting bounties, or are they bounty hunters hunting demons?
My brain just exploded.
They're
demons.
They are demons, right? Because like they're scary creatures. Mm-hmm. They're not full human.
Yeah, they're like Ghost Rider. You know, like Albert pointed out, like they're Ghost Rider. You know, they're demons.
They are bounty hunters hunting demons, but one of them is also a demon.
Only one of them? I thought both of them were.
I don't know. Oh my god, we need.
Why do they work together if one of them's a demon?
One of them is literally just a guy. Oh, now I need to know. I feel like Hatchet has to be the demon because Chains, I feel like he can't get too close to them. That's why he has a long chain.
That's probably.
I'm gonna find out now. I'm on the wiki.
Dun dun dun. That is how did I just learn that? That's crazy. Let's see what.
Yeah, so Chains is a professional demon hunter wielding a rope of infernal devil binding material. The other, a demon himself, choosing to use his violent tendencies for good.
But why doesn't Chains get Hatchet? Is that going to be the ending? Is that the plot twist? That Chains is like, I'm getting you, Hatchet, you're a demon. And then Hatchet's like, oh no.
I don't think so. No, I trust that they are besties.
It's true. They made a good connection.
They're little besties in the Westie. And I was gonna make a really stupid joke, and I'm not gonna do that because I know some annoying straight man's already made it. Oh, yeah, you know what I'm thinking. Moving on. Do you guys have any ideas on when Frequent Fear might drop? I think it's gonna be between like the 10th and the 25th of July. I just don't know exactly when. That's around when it normally is.
That's a great range, so I'll say the same thing.
Yeah,
like that's an amazing range.
Be ready after the week of the 4th for any of those weeks in July to have it.
Get ready to wake up at 3 a.m. and just pray.
Whatever you do to whoever you do it to.
Yes.
All right. I think that's all we got.
There we go.
It's been almost 3 hours.
Oh,
So
yeah, literally. Oh my goodness.
thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you were here for a little bit, for all of it, for most of it, we appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Next week it'll have to be Duff and Jonathan doing this, so I won't be here. But
It's true.
I don't want to lie because I did it on the podcast and I got called out. But it'll probably be on Monday or Tuesday, normal day, we hope.
Yeah.
But we'll have it on social media.
We'll figure
and
it
if
out.
you're not following us on social media, why aren't you? We're at HHN365 on everything except TikTok. It's at HHN365pod. We have a merch shop. You can check it out at HHN365.com. We have a bunch of shirts on there. Maybe more coming. I'm not sure. We'll see. Yeah, check out the code in the description of the video or of the live below if you want to check out Horrors Untold. We have 10% off. It's an amazing book, and it's the best thing to do before you get to the HHN season. Trust us.
Oh yeah.
But I think we covered everything.
I think so. We covered more than everything. I think we are good to rest now. It's finally time that we can just
starts now.
Exactly.
Right now.
There we go. Right this instant.
That's it, y'all. Thank you guys for joining us again. We literally wouldn't be here without you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, follow us on all the other social medias. We'll have something every day, you know that. And we'll see you in the streets and at HHN in 60-something days.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Keep waving.